se vrata, ja prvi sam na žurci. U desnoj cigara, piva u levoj ruci. Potegni povuci, skutaj ekser i tuci. Rukom u ritmu sa manjači kreću vuci. Tehno sam krajišnik, ne kuće u zapisnik. Kad zapjeva Lola ti to ne moš ni da zamisliš. Curo Maro, rodom od laktaša, bili pošla za me drogeraša. Curo Lelo, lepotu sapala, bil se s nama malo drogirala. Krajiški after, to je Dugino poselo. Pijemo pivu, živu i smrčemo belo. Cure na prelo, dođu zapjevat s nama. A majkani moji, glavuđe crne ko gavran. Pa nemoj se s nama zajebavat, jeba ga ti. Na rejvu kada vidiš Semaru, ponudi speed.
Welcome all the early heads. Enjoy a bit of DJ Yugopnik before we start in a little bit.
Šipka i Mimi Sklekovi. Ajmo! Kad je žurka ludih Srba, pitam samo gde je ulaz. Tu se trese svaka kuća, a i sva su stakla pukla. Kad je žurka ludih Srba, luda sam i jako kuret. Uđem da se guram jer moram da budem prva. Uvek uđem da se operem, ko suđe i sud opere. Proteram se pozere, nek izlaze na opere. Ovde se diže, ali ne želimo spotere. BF ođo stiže, znači ne delimo fotere. Petice da draga dečice, batalite škole jer vas ovde više vole. Posle gorke vode, pošto poto skidamo se gole. I nije nam
Welcome, you beautiful piece of the shit. This is Mimi Udba. Who knows Udba knows Udba. This is Yugo Udba. Starting it a little bit.
Ne ljubi. Isplezi se ako ide gas. 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 Isplezi se
Upadamo s maskama, crnim duksimara, slajnama na tacnama, after po tućim gajbama. Bude sahrana, tu smo i na daću. Centrifugu mi uključi najjaču. Operem se, osušim, složim se u orman. Ljudi se krste, koliki sam ćoman. Samo droga, na Boga niko ne misli. Mi smo stoka, apoteka, razni premiksi. Kod tepnika smo pregaženi, zreli za hemijsko pranje, a sranje, ovo biće vam serijsko. Slivam se niz stepenice, maže me baš dobro. Mekan sam i mirišem, ko da pije pokor. Voli me vodom ako overim ili je šlog. Lagana vožnja, roleri, alasku je Bog. Da nam belo bude belo, sve dok ne padnem u nesvest. Sve nas opere ko beli veš na 90. Samo peri.
Ala nam je dobro, ala se zajebavamo bre. Welcome, my beautiful chatters. How we doing this fine morning, evening / afternoon? It is Wednesday, the 19th of March, between 5 and 7 p.m. over where I'm at, and I hope you are all doing as well as I am. We moved yesterday's stream to today's stream because that's how life works. It is crazy, especially when you have as many projects as I do, because I'm the busiest man on this side of the internet. How are we doing? How are we doing? Have you heard about what happened in Macedonia? Yes, and I talked about it. It's incredibly fucked up, and we will talk about it a little bit later, absolutely. But before we start getting political and talking about absolutely disgusting and horrible things happening all around the world, I want to ask you guys, how are you guys doing? Small life updates. Yes, it was a pretty chill day. I had a lot of Deprogram work that I needed to do. That's why the stream, to an extent, was postponed from yesterday to today. Recorded a very, 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 very large episode. There's going to be a two-part episode. We never do two-part episodes, but this one's going to be a two-part episode. It's going to be about different mechanisms that governments all over the world, but also kind of focusing on the United States, utilize in order to crush leftist organizations, and many different historical examples of how that happened. So look out for that if you're into podcasts, of course. I went to the gym yesterday. Today I went to hang out with the lovely husband of my girlfriend's sister. They're prego. They couldn't get prego in like 3-4 years. I don't know what the fuck is happening with these microplastics or whatever the fuck, but they're prego now. So we went to have a drink and eat a bunch of lamb. In the name of the health of the kid, right? So that's really lovely. To an extent, I'm going to be, if I end up, which I do hope, marrying my current partner, I'm going to be an uncle, or what do you even call that? What's like the uncle that's not the uncle by blood, but uncle that's been brought? I'm not sure. I indeed am not sure. How are you guys doing? Anything new? Anything old? I hope life is good. It is Wednesday, my dudes. You're halfway through the week. Just a dream of that sweet weekend for those of you who have a weekend, and those of you who do not, well, I guess you're completely fucked. I'm kidding. You don't hate Mondays, you hate capitalism, as we like to say. What are we going to talk about today? Wisdom from Slim Z, the new viewer. Don't seek for anything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish everything happens as it will. Also, hi, my name is Slim Z. What's up, Slim Z? You're a rapper, singer, filmmaker at the age of 16. That is impressive. At the age of 16, I was only into watch violent movies. Wonderful. And look at girls and be like, oh my God, they're beautiful. Thank you, Rwandel19, for the 2-month sub. Thank you very much. I expected $300 from tax returns and ended up with $1,500 in hard cash. I'm quite content, Barry. You should not tell that to a man who lives off of your gifted subscriptions, okay, Barry? Okay? But no, good for you, man. Very good for you. But hey, share the spoils, as they say. Who said Twitch streamers aren't just overrated beggars? Not me, because that is exactly what we are. Barry ballin', yes indeed. Barry's always ballin'. He's Barry balls. That's why I said hard cash, I can't use it online. I mean, just use hard cash IRL, and the money you have in your digital account, use on your digital boyfriend, also known as me, myself, and I. Anyways, the 10 gifties equals 15 is back. We're trying to get back to that beautiful 2000 so that we are a sustainable zero ad experience. I'm sure we will reach it by the end of the month. The reason we fell off so much is because it pretty much did not stream for 10 whole days while I was on the trip with the boys from the Deprogram. But okay, what are we going to be talking about today? I've got plenty. It's going to be a news-heavy day, but also a little bit of theory. I'm really looking forward to the later part of the stream where we're going to watch this video, Every Major Nazi Group Explained by a German. I would be surprised if there are any Nazi groups that I do not know about. But hey, these fuckers are so niche that sometimes one can be surprised. I made a whole video, this is not my last video, but previous to last, where I talk about the most unhinged and insane Nazi organizations. But here, we're going to expand a little bit, and I want to see if this German gets it right. Obviously, the ceasefire has been completely broken by the Israeli pieces of shit over in Gaza, leading to an immeasurable amount of suffering and death. Absolutely nobody is surprised, but it does not mean that we do not feel and send out our souls to all the people that have been unfortunately martyred. At this point, any words are not sufficient. Actions are necessary. Hey, Yugopnik, can you read out the... Yes, of course. I believe a lot of the streamers have read it out, but I will also read it out. The letter from the wrongfully imprisoned pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud, who has been detained in the slowly authoritarian creep United States of A. I wish him the best of luck. From what I've seen last is that they're moving his case over to New Jersey because there's higher potential chances of a New Jersey judge to not pass unnecessary and absolutely over-the-top charges against him. I guess that's the first step, but we will see how this thing develops. It's hyper-politicized, just like everything is that involves the Palestinian cause. So most likely, it's not going to be the straight edge direction that most cases already de facto in the United States tend to not have. So I have it right here. I will read it out. Well, let's start with the most recent news coming out of Gaza, and that will give us a broader context to start talking about pro-Palestinian activists, their treatment in the United States, and Mahmoud as a prime example of the good old, if a protest will lead to nothing, they will allow it to continue. But the second something actually materially challenges the status quo, both coming from an individual or from a larger organized movement, that's when they put them in quite literal shackles. But yes, Newsday. Later we're going to talk about the extremely fresh Putin-Trump call, further conversations about a potential ceasefire over in Ukraine, the direction that's taking, what Ukrainians are thinking about it, etc., etc. We'll touch on the progress that the protests over in Serbia, the direction the protests over in Serbia are going in. The Balkans have been quite literally absolutely insane in the last 3 weeks, not just the Serbian protests, which are kind of to an extent the biggest thing that's been happening, but in Macedonia, a literal club, a club that never really had a license to operate in the building it operated in, unfortunately burned down, taking the lives of literally 60 young people. Absolutely disgusting. Now, in Macedonia, there's a big rile up, and this might also be a catalyst, a very similar one to the one in Serbia, unfortunately, one that has taken even more lives than the one in Serbia, to start an uprising. I hope that's the direction it goes in, but even more, I hope that if there is an uprising, it actually addresses the core problems which lead to this thing, which is the system, and not just switching one particular government with another. But yes, first you have the crazy protests in Serbia, then you have the mass casualty in Macedonia, and in Bulgaria, like insane internet shit. Like, it's not even in Bulgaria, they found a person, a couple that was how do we even put this? They pretended they're running a shelter for animals so that people send them their animals, and then they would record hypersexual snuff movies that they will sell to people on the internet while murdering the animals on camera. And now there's massive protests in Bulgaria regarding basically the cops not having done anything about this for such a long time. So Macedonia, we have the crazy fire that killed so many. In Serbia, we have massive protests. In Bulgaria, we have this insane movie level case. Yeah, it's really fucked up. I will not show anything. I've seen too much of the footage, and even slight pictures of it will literally leave you scarred. I strongly recommend not Googling it. It's really fucked up. It's really messed the fuck up. Really fucked up. Please do me a favor and don't Google it. Google about the protests and so on that are happening in Bulgaria. Good for them, etc., but not of the particular case. You will be very confused, very troubled, very troubled. Obviously, this grander situation is stirring massive problems over in Bosnia as well, where in order to get away from certain political issues, both maybe the domestic Serbian government, but also the representatives of the Serbian government over in Bosnia are to an extent stirring up shit, but also the Bosniaks are not, fucking, what do you call it? Let's use the term butterfly sitting on top of a tree branch, because of the way they are kind of accepting foreign influence, especially Western European influence and NATO influence in Bosnia. It's a wider conversation, pretty much not having, in my opinion, nothing to do with what the Bosniaks or Serbs or Croats in Bosnia want to see develop, but an awkward political situation for some of the political representatives in the country that they want to get away from by stirring up ethnic discontent. So yeah, Balkans pretty wild. What is this? The tankies vindicated again with the JFK case. What am I looking at? Rudolph Richard Davis, Cuban exile, questioned by Garrison staff in connection with the training camp for Cubans in Lacombe, Louisiana, told the FBI in 1964 that Lorano Batista sent him 19 men from Miami in response to a request. Reno Batista, Secretary of Military Affairs Executive Committee, subject 32-old Cuban exile, was from a wealthy Cuban family. A copy of letter subjected during an interview with the FBI, just sent Miami, New Orleans. Some of these names are following. What am I looking at? Help me out here. I've seen that pretty much all the confirmations from the currently leaked files are kind of say that what happened is relatively similar to what the OG case is. It doesn't say that 1956 was a CIA plot, just that they worked with Hungarians in America. Fucking Hungarians everywhere, bro. There you go. Another Balkan state involved. There you go. We're very Balkan heavy, no matter what other part of the world we might be discussing. We got our hands in all the piles. It was never a Jewish conspiracy. It was never a Irish conspiracy.
Wonderful.
If you know the meme, it has always been a Balkan conspiracy.
Subscriber.
Thank you very much. It's Jura for the 7 months, baby, and a link to x.com. What is this? Linka. China is making burger. Shobля. Thank you, Juro. I'll watch it.
If A is for apple and B is for banana, what is C for? A bomb.
Jesus Christ. Thank you for the $3, brother.
这个视频如果传到了华盛顿，会引起全美轰动。
And there you
说
go.
中国人已经做好了接手美国的准备。
Hello, China. China is a beautiful and great country. Such a low hatred and gullible culture. Chinese people are very friendly and polite. They are working hard to make China stronger. China is changing every day. China is making progress.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I want more energy like this from you, chat. Okay, I want more energy like this, kid. I'm kidding. Do not. Thank you very much, Codeman1346, for the 2 months, baby. Thank you very, 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 very much for helping us remain an adless experience. Not Atlas, but adless. For the jihad will never stop against the plight, which is advertising. Okay, let's start out with the news, with the breaking off ceasefire and a little bit of analysis from our friends over in Al Jazeera News.
It's gone just past 03 GMT, that's 5 a.m. in Gaza. A series of Israeli airstrikes has killed at least 200 people across the Gaza Strip, including many children. It's the biggest assault since the 19th of January, when a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel came into effect. Israel appears to have unilaterally ended.
Wrong video. This is the
Al
right
Jazeera
video.
podcast.
40 minutes away.
Today, Gaza reels from one of its deadliest nights as Israel shatters the ceasefire.
From now on, Israel will act against Hamas with ever-increasing force. From now on, negotiations will take place only under fire.
What's driving
Fucking pieces of shit. Holy fuck. Yeah, the negotiations will take... we will do negotiations by killing. This gentleman is openly saying it. Thank you, it's Jura, very much for the 10 gifties, as always. Which here, the only place on the entirety of Twitch where we do not believe in maths, 10 indeed actually equals 15. So here's another 5. Thank you, Juro. Everybody, look at Juro, point at Juro, and say, thank you, Juro. We really like you, Juro, because that is the truth. That is indeed the truth.
Israel's decision to reignite this war. I'm Kevin Hurton, and this is The Take.
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
Overnight, as most Palestinians in Gaza were sleeping, Israel launched a series of strikes.
We woke up to the sound of strikes tonight.
Which what is that supposed to be called? What is that supposed to be called? That's supposed to be called Israel broke the ceasefire. Israel broke the ceasefire, but somehow they're giving us a pitch that they're not breaking the ceasefire, but they are putting pressure on their so-called enemies by using fire. So they haven't broken the ceasefire. They're just using fire to make sure the ceasefire lasts.
Wonderful, a new child soldier.
We woke up and got out of the tents to the street.
Ziad Ahmed lives in Han Yunis.
They fired a missile here near us. We looked around and found fire coming from the strike. While we ran to see what had happened, we found a second missile had been fired.
And also, they're not even indirectly saying it. They're saying it very directly. Like, our negotiation tactic includes... quite literally telling you, you either accept our resolutions or we will murder your people. It is, we will murder your civilians or you accept our resolution. And that's in the best case scenario. Realistically, it's, we will murder your civilians until you accept our resolutions, and then we'll move the goalpost and then ask for other stuff and proceed to murder civilians. Because the end goal, as we've said 5 billion times on this channel, and if you don't understand this at this point, you're very fucking strange, or you masturbate to Gal Gadot or some shit. The end goal for Israel in Gaza is for there to not be a single Palestinian left. Either they leave or they die. That's it.
The tents were on fire, the women started to scream, and children were terrified. Of course, everything escalated suddenly. We ran towards the screams.
What, Gal Gadot, isn't that the name of the fucking IDF Marvel lady?
Ziad was able to recover some from the rubble, but the Gaza Health Ministry estimates that many...
They just got a star on the Walk of Fame. Fucking crazy.
The victims are still trapped beneath.
Not like it matters, but a very, just heavy message. Like this incredibly pro-IDF individual that also served in the IDF, as bombs are falling on the heads of Palestinian civilians, is being celebrated for what kind of fucking superstardom shit. Thank you very much. Pinkerbell. Protesters interrupted an awards ceremony for Gal Gadot the other day. Oh, really? I love it. Never change. Also, thank you very much for the sub, my friend. Ad starts in exactly 1 minute and 10 seconds. If you want to be like a Splinkerbell, do consider becoming a sub or gifting to those less privileged than you, the way Juro did. And for every 10 gifts, I will donate 5. Take half of that from my own pocket so that nobody has to watch ads ever again. Thank you. Ad in 1 minute.
They bombed us last night, and people rushed to the streets in the middle of the night. The martyrs couldn't even be buried. No one knew.
Thank you, Chank Pecker. We love Chanks Pecker. Thank you very much. Israel says it's carrying out extensive strikes against Hamas in Gaza, throwing doubt on the fragile ceasefire. Throwing doubt on the fragile ceasefire. Yes, I am throwing doubt on the consistency of your face when I hit you with a baseball bat, okay? I am not breaking in your head. I am throwing doubt about the consistency of your nose, your eyes, your forehead, etc., etc. So you can't call the cops, little bitch. Are we surprised? Am I supposed to do a crazy dunk? Oh my God! Look at how Western media is reporting. Like, who's surprised? Who? Gosh. The best thing that Western journalists covering Gaza can do right now is fucking and take another one and shove it up there.
Them.
Palestinians were left asking why.
What do they want from the wounded and devastated people of Gaza? The U.S.
I don't know, guys. Are you doubting that the ceasefire will continue? Are you doubting? Is my microphone level fine, by the way? It's peaking on my shit.
Supports Israel.
Power level edging. Matt, some of you have the best headphones in the fucking game. Some of you have the best headphones in the game.
With all kinds of military equipment available in the Middle East and in its stockpiles. We have become a testing ground in Gaza for Israeli-American strikes.
Russia carries out special operation as fragile peace holds. Imagine, dude. Yeah. Remember when we were all sitting and rightfully pointing at the Russians and being like, yeah, special operation. Yeah, denazification. Yeah, that's definitely what you're doing, bro. And yet somehow when Israel pretty much uses the same rhetoric, but arguably does even worse because they are hyper-focusing on targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure as their main kind of target. Not saying that the RF doesn't do that either, but with the Israelis, it's the main fucking target. Then it's no. Like, you're being fucking anti-Semitic because the magical Jews apparently are saying things that you have to believe because it's coming from Israel. Thank you very much, Matthias36, for the prime, my beautiful child soldier.
Just want to understand from them, what do they want from us?
Al Jazeera did
400 people blown to bits is fragile peace. Exactly. No. It's like it's as if they sent like a letter where they were like, we don't like you guys. But in the letter there were the cut off limbs of 400 people.
Digital's Gaza reporter, Maram Humaid, says she was woken up by her daughter. She asked her what was happening, but she couldn't reassure her.
The war is back, and the bombing is still in place right now in Gaza. Every now and then there is a bombing and there is an intense hovering of water planes overhead and in the skies of Gaza. And we just hope that this nightmare won't continue, and it would be stopped very soon. People of Gaza wouldn't endure more of this suffering and more of this horrific scenes of the war.
My guest today has been following it all.
Even the amount that they've endured up until this point is almost unseen on a global level. And there was a slight inkling of hope from the great peacemaker that is still struggling fucking half a year in to ensure any sort of peace while sabotaging almost every single American relation that they have. A grain of hope, and now that grain of hope is taken away. That, to an extent, unfortunately, is maybe even worse than if the ceasefire never took place. And don't shoot me here, obviously. While the ceasefire lasted, probably tens of thousands of lives were not taken, and I completely agree. But when you give somebody, like when somebody is experiencing something as absolutely fucking horrific as what our Palestinian brothers, sisters, and NBs are experiencing, and then you give them a little bit of hope for a month or two, and then you rip that hope right out, the psychological effect that has on every single individual and the wider population is unimaginable to us privileged little fuckers over here.
From Haifa. We spoke on Tuesday, the evening after.
It speeds up breaking the spirit. It just speeds it up and speeds it up and speeds it up.
After the attack.
My name is Diana Boutou, and I'm a lawyer and analyst based in Haifa.
So, Diana, Israel attacked Gaza, shattering the already fragile ceasefire that had been in place since January. Things were already on edge, and around 2 a.m., all hell broke loose. Tell us what happened. Tell me how this horrible night unfolded.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, Israeli airplanes entered into Gaza airspace and bombed all throughout the Gaza Strip. A lot of the places that they bombed were the areas that were the places that were the so-called safe areas. So particularly in the central part of the Gaza Strip. But they also hit in the north, in the.
You ever read Viktor Frankl's Man's in a Search of Meaning? In Birkenau, he said the most heartbreaking and soul-crushing moment was when the Red Cross came and gave them little to no help. Absolutely, it's a great book. Great book. It is, Kaylin, I'm very surprised, honestly. I'm not telling you that you're not somebody that reads, but it's my partner's favorite book of all time. It's a fantastic book, and truly, without a life without meaning, covered in alienation, is arguably not worth living.
South, all throughout the Gaza.
But then it becomes worth living in the pursuit of finding meaning, right? So it's a very, very nice hope pill that even if you have not found the meaning of your life, which I'm very privileged to have, spending this time with you, trying to agitate for my worldview, etc., in many different avenues. But even if you have not found it, that's not supposed to be a black pill. That's supposed to motivate you in your continuous search towards it. Because with meaning, even in the worst situations, you can rise above and meet the challenge. But sometimes the challenge is so petrifying, such as what our Palestinian brothers and sisters and NBs are going through, so fucked up that purpose and meaning needs to be so fucking strong. And seeing just how strong and how resilient Palestinians are is, to my simplistic Balkan mind, literally unfathomable. And that is why I respect it. It's almost, a LARP, not LARP. I genuinely believe, unitas mundi, blah, 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 human union, we're all the same, etc., etc. But Palestinians are something else, man. Just fucking built different. Absolutely fucking built different.
Gaza Strip, there wasn't one particular area. And this is why we're seeing so many people who've been killed, because it's all dispersed throughout the Gaza Strip. And the hospital.
Dude, they gave them 2 months so that they can start creating areas in which to congregate and basically survive. What rebuilding? There's no fucking rebuilding happening. The attempts at rebuilding, but come on, let's not fucking cope here. So they waited for them to basically create new population pockets, and then they started hitting the newly created population pockets. It's like logistically improving how many people they can kill with as less American taxpayer money as possible. It is a genocidal efficiency.
Hospitals have been unable to deal with all of the people who have been attacked. We're still, at this hour, pulling people out from the rubble.
The testament from Mahmoud, the intensity of the bombing in western Gaza was so violent that many people killed were thrown out of their buildings. Their flesh was collected from the streets and the yards of other homes.
They were bombing people as they were asleep. And it wasn't just the individuals, their entire families that were wiped out.
Honor, we're talking about honor here. Not only does it come from the air, not only does it hit children, civilians, but you do it while they fucking sleep. You do it while they fucking sleep.
As they were sleeping.
The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas shattered by Israel launching a new wave of attacks, killing hundreds of Palestinians. The strikes.
It's like they're min-maxing how cowardly they can be. They're min-maxing how like the most dishonorable options at their disposal to utilize against who? This is not a fucking Goliath moment, bruv. You're the Goliath, bitch. And yet, you're fucking kitted out in armor and with a fucking AR-15 against kids in rubble. Like, what are the Zionists giving as arguments to support this? What?
Hit homes and displacement camps, wiping out entire families in moments.
And we fully expect that this death toll is going to rise. The reason that I expect that it's going to rise is because this wasn't just a question of Israeli aerial bombardment and bombing, but also because for the past 16 days, Israel hasn't allowed any humanitarian aid to get into the Gaza Strip. That includes everything from food to fuel to medicines to much needed medical supplies as well. And you can see that the medical system is on the verge of collapse. And so what Israel's doing now is it's just bombing people. 90% of the buildings in the Gaza Strip have been bombed. This is now just going after people and trying to inflict as much damage as possible and to terrify people even further after 15 months of genocide.
Yeah, Al Jazeera's Tariq Abu Azum reported that most of the airstrikes have been on heavily built-up neighborhoods, makeshift schools, and residential buildings where people were taking shelter.
Yeah, that's exactly what has happened. Just this morning, the Israeli army then announced that there are people along the...
Because you want to even break the idea that they put, I mean, they've already broken this idea, but these ideas kind of refresh, unfortunately, in people's minds because they're looking for hope. So you want to break the idea that even if there is any potential ceasefire or any potential agreement with the liberatory forces in Gaza or the civil administration in Gaza or whatever, with the Israelis, with the wider West, with the United States, that at any point can be broken. The overarching kind of like ideological imperative here is to make Palestinians truly believe, truly understand, no matter what, that there is no way out of this situation for them except to admit to fate and die or to somehow leave, right? You do not want, like, you want to not just crush hope. You want thought of hope to be considered cope, to use internet language.
Eastern part of the Gaza Strip, that they should also flee. And remember, there have been hundreds of these evacuation orders. They're at the point now where they're bombing people in tents, in UN schools, in hospitals. And the part that is so disturbing in all of this is that I just don't see anybody pushing Israel to stop. Quite the opposite. I see that the cheerleaders have come out and they're pushing Israel to continue and to do it even harder and faster and fiercer.
So, Deanna, Israeli officials had been publicly saying for weeks that they were preparing plans to resume the war should ceasefire talks break down. This happened days after they came back from a round of talks in Egypt about the second phase of the agreement, which was supposed to lead to a permanent end to the war. What is the Israeli government saying officially about why they're doing this? Why they are doing this now?
They're actually not really saying a whole lot other than that they want to see all of the Israelis released.
Everything I've read, basically they're saying Why should we negotiate without putting mass murder on the table as a negotiation tactic and tool? They're like, we are holding all the cards. You are at our mercy. Why are we trying to talk to you as an equal? You are not. You are worms. And you will listen or you will die, which also is a lie, because the long-term plan is for them to all die.
As of this morning, Israel is operating with full force against the Hamas terrorist organization.
Yeah. Wait. 1 second. Wait. I mean, the first order. Holy shit.
In the Gaza Strip. We have reached this situation after the Hamas.
It has the same vibes, dude. Absolutely. People with tech that can blow up entire planets versus people basically just trying to survive. Yeah? Yeah. Just the First Order is trying to rebuild a fallen empire. This empire has never fallen.
Hamas repeatedly.
And once it falls, the only First Order they will be creating is from Arab tourists on their shorelines asking for a burger and fries. Can I have my First Order, please?
Refuse proposal to extend ceasefire and to release our hostages.
One of the things that has been so striking about this is from the very beginning, Netanyahu, on the eve of the ceasefire agreement, pretty much announced that it wasn't going to last.
As soon as he was elected, President Trump mobilized to secure the release of the hostages. He spoke to me on Wednesday evening. He ran with the agreement, and he rightly emphasized that the first phase of the agreement is a temporary ceasefire.
And so they're not even really providing any form of an excuse as to why they're re-attacking Gaza. They're doing it because they know that they can.
Yeah, one of the statements was, if Hamas does not release all the hostages, the gates of hell will open in Gaza. That was Israel Katz said that. And Hamas, it seems like, sniffed this out pretty fast. They said, well, we're not going to release without some sort of guarantee that as soon as they're gone, you're going to just immediately start bombing.
On that point about what Katz said,
and their point has been proven.
This is simply parroting what Donald Trump said. You know, Donald Trump earlier on said that he didn't want the Israeli captives released in a phased approach, that he wanted them all at once. And the reason that he wanted them all at once is because, again, it feeds into what exactly Israel wants, which is...
Yeah, and it also feeds into his whole character of the art of the deal, like him, how will outsmart the Arabs by telling them there shall be peace if they release the hostages, and then waza! We shall kill them all, and the gates of hell shall open. Literally, like that's Freud Hugo psychoanalysts hour, but that's the PR team's pitch. My PR team's pitch, though, is do not let these gates of hell open up underneath you that are coming. Oh my God, your ground is shaking. Holy fucking shit! What is fucking happening, bro? An ad will play in exactly 3 minutes. Avoid it by becoming a subscriber or by helping your fellow comrades never have to watch an ad ever again by gifting a sub. And for every 10 gift subs, I will give an additional 5. I might love money, but I indeed hate ads more. Thank you very much. Let's continue.
They want all of the Israeli captives, and then once they're out, then they want to bomb Gaza even further and flatten the place. And they made this clear from the very beginning.
This strategic...
Thank you for the very kind 8 months, Good Riddance USA, one of the best names in chat.
Explanation with Trump now in the White House saying he openly wants to displace the Palestinian population and build a Riviera in Gaza.
I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
But it should be said that Trump is also one of the big reasons that the ceasefire was there in the first place. So do you think that Netanyahu has a complete green light when it comes to Trump, total war to accomplish this new displacement goal?
That, for example, is a good question. Let's see.
I do. I think he does have a green light to do whatever it is he wants to do. And the reason I think that he has that green light is because while initially Trump was involved and pushed for the ceasefire, at the same time, we've seen just how much effort has been, how much Israeli effort and how much Israeli attention has been paid to Trump, and how they have really pushed this idea of expelling Palestinians, of ethnically cleansing Palestinians, of creating this so-called Riviera. And this is exactly what Netanyahu's dream, this is his fantasy. So you have an Israeli prime minister who's always believed in ethnic cleansing, who's been pushing and who's been now charged with war crimes for genocide, coupled with a U.S. president who views the world as...
Ceasefire was just celebration for Trump's inauguration and all the bloodshed he will unleash, which is impressive because Harris would be equally bloodthirsty. Yeah, ironically, with Harris, we might not even have the ceasefire. That's the crazy fucking part. That's the extra unhinged fucking part. But yeah, it was to an extent a PR stunt that nonetheless probably the Israelis gave him shit for, but he apologized, he kissed the feet, and we're continuing.
Some sort of real estate deal.
Like sometimes these deals like are like ridiculously basic. We're talking. The president of one state calls the president of the other state, says, can you slow down for like 2 months, so that everybody claps and says how fucking amazing I am, and then you can restart it, and in return I'll give you a couple of $1 billion of worth of taxpayer money in the form of drones and bombs and planes. Sometimes it is as simple as that. I see them based on intent and cultural ancestry. I draw comparison between them and the Confederacy more often than Nazism, especially with the AFD around now. Not Elon, though. He's just a Nazi. If we're talking fictional fascist regime, though, then I compare them to Caesar's Legion from Fallout. They are very Caesar's Legion from Fallout. Because they believe that they are civilizing the barbarian hordes, and even at the potential cost of the majority of the population of the barbarian hordes. But I do not believe that Israel, like Caesar's Legion, like wants to colonize and wants to inject the different tribes it conquers into its wider empire. We're talking about the Fallout New Vegas thing here. Israel is a pure ethno-state, based on the belief that one people are superior and deserve a large Lebensraum in which to continue existing. So the mere existence of two Palestinians in Israel is unacceptable to them. So the long-term, not even Palestinians in Israel, like any stable, secular or not state in their surrounding, which stands in some sort of solidarity with the Palestinians, will also not be allowed to continue existing. So I don't know who to make the parallel with, because Israel is not behaving like an empire. It is behaving like a very, very classic, violent ethno-state, which just wants to secure the borders that they believe that they deserve because they read it in a book, pretty much. Thank you, MXG, you fucking legend. 14 months, but at what cost? Thank you for your service. Thank you to the subscribers. Very kind of you.
Ever really looking at his plans actually mean. He doesn't have the bandwidth or the attention span to be doing anything.
Caesar's Legion genuinely believes that they are civilizationally more developed and that they deserve to utilize violent methods in order to basically conquer most of the wasteland and then switch into an NCR-style government system and then basically create a very large and very stable quasi-democracy, etc., etc. So they do not feel ethnic or cultural superiority over their subjects. They just genuinely believe they're stronger, and by bringing people in, they can create a bigger ideal, right? Very, very similar to Roman thinking, right? Romans didn't think this or that group is just disgusting and they cannot be converted into the Roman way of life. Well, Israelis do not believe that Arabs can be converted into the Israeli way of life unless they happen to be Jewish, and they need to be exterminated permanently.
Anything. And so when he gets a nice, convenient plan, like let's just ethnically cleanse Palestinians, it sounds good to him.
Yeah, there's never going to be a better opportunity is probably the calculus. We know.
So enclave, maybe enclave. There you go. Okay. It's a bit LARPy what we're doing here, but still relatively interesting because the Israelis are so fucked up. The Israeli state is so fucked up that we can't even find a fictional fascist group that is as fucked up as them. Which says how fucked up they are. Sorry for saying fucked up so many times, which is very fucked up. But yeah, Enclave. Enclave is on fucking point. Enclave is on fucking point. Not only cultural, but or technological, but ethnic superiority. Fucking literal skull measures. Enclave are skull measures. In this case, the Israelis, the Jewish identity, Wiwa, versus those who are not in the part of the world that they deem their own.
That the White House was consulted about these strikes beforehand. White House spokeswoman Carolyn Leavitt confirmed that on Fox News.
The Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America will see a price to pay. All hell will break loose.
Thank you, Baba Dinko. Kad ja umrem, draga, ti ne pali svijeću. What was it? Jer ja se drogiram. Fucking remind me, Baba Dinko. I can't. I'm so bad with lyrics.
All of the terrorists in the Middle
It wasn't just in consultation. This is U.S. weaponry. Remember, since Trump has taken office, he too has continued the supply of weapons that the Biden administration first began, and he's been making sure that Israel has as many weapons as it wants. This is why I'm so worried, because you have this combination.
Thank you, Nod's Eye, supporting construction of our planetary supercarrier. Let's fucking go, Unitas Mundi, till death, friend.
Of Netanyahu and his goals, and Trump and everything that he's been doing, and you can see that there's nobody that's putting the brakes on the United States or on Israel.
More with Diana after a quick break. There's a personal element to this as well. Netanyahu is dealing with a lot at home. He's on trial for corruption. He's facing a ton of pressure politically from the families of the captives. And
people harp on this too often, and I'm gonna do the typical fucking Marxist talking point, anti-imperialist talking point. It doesn't really matter. They all agree that all Palestinians need to die. This is not really fucking relevant.
And his coalition partners.
But it is relevant in the context of talking about how much Netanyahu might want to intensify the process of genocide in order to protect his political career. In that context, it's relevant. But the genocide is going to happen no matter if it's very fast because one guy wants to stay relevant, or because it's slow because more liberal Zionists come into power.
Those on the right who say he's not going far enough. How much of this suffering that we're seeing in Gaza right now do you think redounds to just what's going on in Netanyahu's life?
Palestinians always pay the price for for Israeli political choices. And Palestinians always pay the price for Netanyahu and his own.
Yeah, in this case specifically, he resumed the bombing the night before he was supposed to testify his own corruption trials, right? Yes, absolutely. So it has an effect. But the effect that we're talking about here is simply the timeline of mass murder, not whether it's going to happen.
Own political career.
Everybody go check out Maple Takes. Very, very good friend of the show. Always a pleasure to see you in chat, my dear friend. Always a pleasure to see Le Basado Canadiano. I'm a strong Canada stan now.
This is being done at our expense, with our lives.
I want you to do your best to incentivize radical dislike of the American state inside of Canadian borders, okay? Balkanize North America even more than it's balkanized now, my friend. For obviously for the good of all.
Our bodies. The reason that he has resumed these attacks on Gaza, it's no coincidence that today he was supposed to appear in court for yet another day of his corruption trial.
I've been on that shit for years, and there you go. Proven right as always, these fucking commies.
It's not at all surprising that we learned today that Itamar Ben-Gvir has resumed and rejoined the cabinet after leaving the cabinet back in January over the ceasefire agreement.
We heard from Israel's national security.
Everything that is happening politically inside of Israel is like absurdly surreal. It's like a alternate universe that these people live in, okay? The rest of the world is like looking at a ever-evolving door of mass murder, killing, pillaging, and destruction and ethnic cleansing. But domestically, they're having these like talk shows and intense debates over logistical shit about running the Israeli state, or on the more unhinged side of things, on how quick and how intense the genocide is supposed to be. Israel has been for a long time, but now hyper-sped into being a almost surreal plane of existence where ethics and morality has been pushed so far right that the overtone window no longer exists. It is outside the overtone window. They have created their own bubble in which every option, every step, every direction is taken over Palestinian corpses. It is post-rational. It is post-fixable. It simply is. Unfortunately, of course.
Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir saying that he would resign if this goes ahead. He urged Benjamin Netanyahu to pull out of the deal, which he says only whets the appetite of Hamas.
You can't pull the overtone window for a particular place back when they are outside of it. They are outside of it. It's just an incredibly deranged place where what you and me consider reality is not reality. It is like quintessential proof that ethics and what we consider to be normal and real is an inherently subjective context, and that morality is built on material relations and ideological experiences. Basically the only thing you know. There's pure proof. Israel is pure proof that motherfuckers like Nietzsche were right.
It's not at all coincidental that we see that Israelis are protesting and very angry with the Netanyahu government because they don't trust the government and they certainly don't trust him. And he knows that the only thing that he can do to maintain his political survival is to carry out massacres against Palestinians, to ethnically cleanse Palestinians, to carry out genocide. This is what will win him votes. It's what will win him coalition power. And it's what will keep him in office.
Back to Gaza, we have hundreds of casualties. The hospitals are overwhelmed. But even before this happened, people who had been...
I don't know why, but I can't use my Prime sub in Egypt. I'm sorry. You would. Don't worry. Thank you very kindly, my friends. No worries. I just hope we reach the 2,000 because it's kind of honestly my sustainability minimum to an extent for running the show as compared to like other projects and so on. But we'll get there by the end of the month. We have time. We have 12 days. We'll get there eventually.
A new child soldier.
Return.
Also, somebody gift. There you go. Somebody gift Slay Bunny, Slay Girl Bunny. Come on. You got a person called Slay Girl Bunny? Come on. Thank you very much, Johnny Soda, and thank you, MXG, for gifting to Slay Girl Bunny. Thank you, MXG, as always, one of the OGs.
Turned to the north of Gaza.
14 months from Johnny Soda. You're fucking insane. I don't know why whenever I read your name, Johnny Soda, I immediately think of Johnny Sins, the porn star. I don't know, Johnny Sins, Johnny Soda. I really apologize, but I read your name for the past 14 months, I'm immediately imagining the world's most most vanilla pipe layer of all time.
So we're living on tents on top of rubble. Also, Israel had halted all humanitarian aid, which means limited food, limited supplies, limited fuel. And this is all happening in the middle of Ramadan.
Brain rot, exactly.
Can you try to paint us a picture of the desperate conditions there, even before the attack? This Gaza is very different to the one that Israel first attacked in the autumn of 2023.
Yes, this is
There's no fucking, there's no fucking Gaza. It's not different. It is annihilated. Hi, Yugopnik. We're fighting back in Kansas among a sea of hogs. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, my friend, and welcome to the community.
population where the UN
Keep up the good work.
is estimating that over 1 million are facing malnourishment. And this is because over the course of the past 15 months, there hasn't been an adequate amount of food that's getting into Gaza. The quality of the food that has been getting in is not good. Doctors are reporting massive dehydration.
There's no roofs. There's no fucking roofs except tents. No, the lady is lovely. The lady is phenomenal. Massive respect. Everything she's got. But I just want to add, everyone's homeless. You know how you pass homeless people, and if you have a soul, you're like, this is extremely fucked up. Now imagine your whole city is that. Your whole city is that. And it's been for months and months and months and months and months. And not only is your whole city homeless, but there's motherfuckers throwing grenades through fucking windows and blowing up the homeless all the fucking time. So you got to think about how to feed yourself, how to get water, and how to survive. Non-stop. How to not get diseases, how to wash your fucking body, your fucking children's body. It's just a massive fucking area with hundreds of thousands of homeless people that are being fucking purge-style hunted by some of the world's most fucking barbaric imbeciles. That's the state in Gaza. And somehow it's become worse than it was before, which, never, be careful what you fucking say, it could always be worse. I never imagined it could, but apparently it can.
Almost everybody
Thank you very much, Nods, and thank you very much, Dirt VB. Welcome to the fucking clan, brothers.
has had some form of stomach problems in the Gaza Strip because of the lack of food and the lack of sanitation.
The lady is serving serious Lisa Cuddy from, oh my God. Oh my God. This is literally the same. I'm so sorry. What? Crazy. Insane. Man, I thought I was good with faces. Some of you fuckers are impressive.
In the Gaza Strip because of the lack of food and the lack of sanitation. In places like the central part of Gaza, there isn't any drinking water any longer. People have been drinking
new sub, love your shit, bro. Thank you very much, friend.
Water that is unfit for
your shit too.
Human consumption.
Israel shut down electricity to Gaza's main desalinization plant. It's 500,000 Palestinians rely on this place. And we can assume...
Like some fucking relatively wealthy Americans like LARP, post-apocalyptic survival, they would not last 2 days in Gaza. This is post-apocalyptic survival. You don't have to watch The Walking Dead. You can watch The Walking Dead, but on a very, very, very hard difficulty, because in Gaza, the zombies have planes and drones and missile systems, etc., etc. And they rain. Imagine Walking Dead, but the zombies have planes. And that's Gaza. But, it's worse. In The Walking Dead, there's still standing buildings. From here and there, there's, some infrastructure left over from pre-apocalypse. But the zombies, IRL, the Israeli zombies, the IDF zombies, IRL, are also, like, smart enough to work on killing all the sources of water or food in your place. That's the fucking context for internet-pilled people like myself, okay? IRL, like, you want to, those very cringe TikTok videos where they're ranking different zombie apocalypses and which one you would be able to survive. Well, what about zombies with planes, missile systems, American high-end intelligence service, etc., and their ability to tinker with your infrastructure? How about that zombie movie? Well, it exists. It's called Gaza.
At least half of those 500,000 are under 18.
Yes.
When you're cutting off drinking water.
People thought sprinter zombies were bad. Wait till they meet the fucking IOF.
To children. You just run out of ways to describe.
Yeah, pandas. The Walking Dead for Palestinians would be a fucking walk in the park.
What they're doing.
Genocide. That's it. From the beginning, I and others were saying that this is going to be an attack on children.
And then they ask the American state, oh my God, look at the zombie apocalypse over in Gaza. And the American state says, it is very concerning. The best I can do is send $20 billion to the zombies. And once they win, you know how much money we can make from the zombies by making a beach zombie resort? A beach zombie resort. You wouldn't fund that movie because it sounds completely unrealistic, right? Well, it's happening in front of your fucking eyes.
Because when you look at the makeup of the Gaza Strip, more than half of the people who live in the Gaza Strip are under the age of 18. Anything that is done in Gaza is going to affect children. We're now looking at the highest number of...
Speaking of zombies, thank you, Verona Zombie, for the Prime sub. The world is very surreal. What the fuck?
of child amputees in the world.
Thank you for the 4
We're
months.
looking at a place where it's the unsafest for a child to live in the world. They wanted to attack the most defenseless people in the world to make sure that they can't ever have a future. That's the essence of genocide.
So Israeli officials are saying this is just the beginning. They say they're carrying out extensive strikes on terror targets, and they've ordered Palestinians in large swaths of Gaza to leave their homes. There's speculation of a renewed ground invasion now. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar
apparently it might have started already, but we cannot confirm the sources.
Said without the release of our hostages, Israel has no alternative but resuming military operations. No alternative.
But of course they've had an alternative. From the beginning, Hamas said that they were willing to release...
It's insane we have to address this. It's insane that this incredible actress from House MD has to address this.
Release the Israeli captives in exchange for a halt to the bombing. This was within the first week of October the 7th. Israel then decided that they didn't want that, because I don't think they've ever really wanted the Israeli captives back.
And from 46 minutes ago, thanks to my lovely Ufigi, I fucking love you, Ufigi, marry me. Gaza updates, Israel launches new limited ground invasion. Israel's military, Israel's military said its forces have moved into central Gaza to extend control over a military buffer zone that splits the territory. It comes as Israel ramps up What the fuck? Sorry, I said Israel too many times. It got caught in my throat. It comes as Israel ramps up pressure. Because Israel ramps up pressure. They killed 400 people. Kraut fucking. I swear to God. The Israeli military has launched a limited ground operation to retake part of the key Gaza corridor. The Israel Defense Forces posted on X that forces took control and re-extended their control of the center of the Netzarim corridor. Israeli troops had withdrawn from it, a military zone that divides Gaza into northern and southern halves, as part of the ceasefire agreement in January. So they're breaking every single ceasefire agreement. The surprise is very big, and we are all very surprised. Troops had earlier patrolled the corridor, partly to prevent evacuated Palestinians from returning to the north of the territory. What do we call that? What do we call that? That's called ethnic cleansing. That's literally called ethnic cleansing. Okay. Return to warfare endangers the lives of hostages. Israeli peace activist Kirschenbach. Man, bro. I hope the Israelis lube up their foot when they fucking face fuck you, you fucking cucks.
And instead pursued a massive bombing campaign. We saw that
Speaking of lubing me up, you can lube me up by oiling me up, and for every 10 barrels of oil, I will oil you back up with another 5, the only place on Twitch where that is done, in order for you to avoid the ad that will play in exactly 30 seconds. Or if you're not an oiler of others and you simply prefer to sit in a room and oil yourself, you are invited to become a sub for $6 a month or for free through Prime.
Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!
And Lazy K loves oiling me, so now I'm gonna oil Lazy K. Oh God, and then it's gonna be so smooth, and we're gonna be rubbing those subs. Oh my God, and then all the oiled chatters as well. Fucking crazy. And then Grey Goat comes in. He's like, "There's no way you're experiencing this oil up by yourself." Ooh, I gotta fucking join in on that.
Subscriber.
Thank you, Grey Goat, and thank you, Lazy K. Anybody else want to get oiled up? In another 5 oils, we get another 5. Oh, there we go. MXG slides right in.
Wonderful, a new child soldier. Subscriber.
Oof. Shit, and then, I whip out my fucking oil barrel and throw another 5 back into you. Fucking TOS? What TOS? We're talking about subscriptions here. Holy shit, everybody's oiled up and fucking rubbing, if you know what I mean. Imagine if your future children finds this. I hope they do. I don't feel like I'm embarrassing myself. I am doing a bit, okay? It's called commentary, pandas. It's called comedy, okay? It is called comedy. The fact that your palate is not advanced enough to understand the beauty of Twitch oil economics is a problem you have, not me. Thank you, Debo, for another gifty. Debo walking in with just a little squirt of oil, but still a respectable amount because it's still something to contribute to this slide. Oh my God. And then Pizza Famine is like, not without me. I'm going to come right in. Ooh. And then we're again only 4 left before I oil additionally. Wow, wow, wow. Level 6 hype train from the fucking get-go. Crazy things. I am hemorrhaging viewers, but I don't give a shit because the real OGs respect this shit. Thank you very much, Pizza Famine. And as always, while a hype train lasts, what do we do, chat? What do we do when an hype train begins? We watch Chinese TikTok. Exactly, Berry Balls. Let me see where this is. Chinese TikTok. Boom, boom. Chinese. Where is the Chinese thing? There we go. Boom. So, while the hype train lasts, we watch TikToks, a little palate cleanser from the absolute horrors that we have just witnessed. Let's see where this goes. Ethan is Trotsky. That's funny. Okay, let us start with very sexy cat.
Yo, yo, 听众感觉。
That is AI art and was very cringe. China, what the fuck? Oh, are you judging the entire country of China based on the niche TikToks you're watching? Well, yes. Yes, I am. Yes, indeed, I am. %64% of level 6. Good. Absolutely. That's an evil-looking cat, but I love it. I love evil-looking cats. Abliest cat up in here. Cat book? I mean, I'm giving you something much better than cat book. Man, some of you OGs remember cat book. That was wild. And thank you, Cynical Chris, for another 5, and we move into level 7. Let's go. Also, ladies and gentlemen, 24,000 followers would not be possible without any of you motherfuckers. I love you very much. 24,000.
This is a man's world.
I mean, subscriber.
Is it though?
This is a man's world.
Is it though? Here's another 5.
But it wouldn't be nothing.
Child soldier. I mean,
Nothing.
Thank you, Cynical Chris. If you see this, you should immediately open your door and say, "Hello,
wonderful.
sir.
A new
You
child
look
soldier.
nice."
I mean, subscriber.
Okay, that's.
What can I say?
Wonderful. A new child soldier. I mean, subscriber.
Fucking caught in 4K. You guys don't get it? They flashed the on the night vision or the light flash. You can see through the mask. Holy shit. Fuck so much. Sup, cowboy? We're watching while my hype train goes. While our hype train goes, we watch
Wonderful.
Chinese
A new
TikToks
child
to
soldier.
motivate
I mean,
Oilers to
subscriber.
oil me up. Okay. Meanwhile, the guy inside. It's a nightmare game.
Wonderful. A new child soldier. I mean, subscriber.
Creepy ass. When you think you look super like fucking on point and shit, but this is what your friends see.
Wonderful. A new child soldier. I mean, subscriber.
This is so evil. Sorry, that's badminton. Bro.
Crocodilo. Bombardiro crocodilo. Un fottuto alligatore volante. Trallallero trallallà, porco Dio e porco Allah. Ero con il mio fottuto figlio merdardo a giocare a Fortnite, quando a un punto arriva mia nonna. Ornella lecca cappella, trippi troppi, troppa trippa. 3 topi trotterellano, tra tromboni tritati, triplicando trottoline tropicali. E chi troppa vuole, nulla trippa.
Which one's your favorite? Mine is like Bober curva, no. Boberito curvito.
Tanto caldo e vasto, 2 sandali giganti come un casto. Il cactus camminava sotto il sole splendente, con le sandali sorprendenti e lucenti. Per tutto il deserto, dove la sabbia si muove,
These are too long.
con il corpo di Saturno, Saturnita, gli anelli che girano, brillano al cielo, una vacca spaziale senza alcun velo, con 2 piedi giganti cammina sul marciapiede. Tutto alligatore volante che vola e bombardiro.
Wait, how do I Italian? Brain rot. This one is my favorite, actually. No, this one's my favorite. Wait for this one. You will not expect it. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And now.
Capu cappuccino assassino! Assassini cappuccini! Questo killer furtivo si infiltra tra i nemici approfittando della notte. Attento, odiatore di caffè! Se non bevi una tazza di cappuccino al mattino, è meglio non incrociare questo tizio. Bombombini gusini! Fratello bombardiro crocodilo.
Fratello bombardino crocodilo, gusini bombardini.
Che svolge tutte le stesse funzioni del fratello, da bombe alla gente. Tazzina. Bri, bicus, dicus, de dicus. Un piccolo riccio le cui spine sono fatte di succose fragole. Ogni volta che si spaventa perde un frutto, che ricresce immediatamente. Il suo problema più grande? Gli uccelli lo scambiano per uno spuntino delizioso. E la rilà. Elefante.
Wait.
Salasatu il muantarkan. Lirili la rilà. Elefante nel deserto che cammina qua e là. Con la sua conchiglia e un orologio che fa tic-tac, le spine del cactus mi fanno un attacco flashback. Arriva Ramon su una mongolfiera blu, gridando. Ma che fai lì?
Oh, this
Ti
was
piace
great.
pure il
This was
wifi?
great as well.
Capibarrello, turbo al colbasa, nonna grida. Baloni lulilolli. Capibarrello cocossini. È molto raro trovare.
Caribarello cocossini. Caribarello cocossini. Okay. Oh, holy shit. It's kind of a fucked up way to go back into talking about a genocide, but I hope a small little palate cleanser so you fuckers don't kill yourselves, okay? Whenever you feel sad, remember.
Baloni lulilolli. Capibarrello cocossini.
Okay, I want that like to be plugged like audio you can play at any time. Whenever you feel sad, this should play.
Nonna grida. Baloni lulilolli. Capibarrello cocossini.
And cappuccino assassino cappuccinino. Oh.
First wave of Israelis to be released was in November of 2023. And so we saw that there was a way. And yet, once again, Israel resumed. And here again, we've seen that there's been yet another wave of Israelis who've been released. And yet again, Israel has resumed. The problem here is that because there's nobody that's putting the brakes on Israel, instead we're seeing the cheerleaders, that they can make these sorts of statements. And some fool out there is going to believe them. But if anybody really wants to understand and wants to know what is happening, they'll look at the history records and they'll understand that it didn't have to be like this to begin with. The fact that the only way that Palestinians can be released from Israeli dungeons, from Israeli prisons, is through some sort of a prisoner exchange is perverse. And yet, this is the system that has been set up, is one in which the only way that Palestinians can be released en masse from the system of mass incarceration is through some sort of prisoner exchange. So there are alternatives out there. The problem is that we shouldn't have been in this position to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, the goal here is to eliminate Hamas, but this is not that. This is lobbing bombs from a safe distance into devastated communities.
You know, so even on this issue, There are rules to war, and the rules to war say that if a person is a combatant, meaning that they're actually engaged in an armed struggle.
But my friend, they know this. That is why they redefine what it means to be an armed combatant. That is why they put tens of millions of dollars into propagating the idea that every single Palestinian is simply born with deep anti-Semitic hatred and wants to eat Israeli babies every single morning, which is very ironic because just statistically, well, most Israelis are like that. But when it comes to Palestinians, let's be honest.
Then they are targets. But if they're not a combatant, they're not targets. But what Israel has done is it's reversed everything. It's twisted.
The stream is insane. You can't just give me Italian AI animals and then just switch to this. My brain can't take it. Welcome to 2025. You might call me a millennial. I might call myself a Zoomer. But this indeed is the first Gen Alpha stream. Okay? We have developed an advanced mechanism for you to be able to take in advanced and complicated information by feeding you intense, hyperactive content, then switching to information, then intense, hyperactive content, then information. I am quite literally treating you as iPad kids, and you're all fucking loving it. As am I, because I am the iPad.
Twisted everything on its head, that everybody is a target unless they prove otherwise. This is the height of dehumanization. That's why when you see the numbers of children who've been killed, the Israelis are calling them collateral damage. Israel thinks that everybody is a target, and that's the problem. Is that it isn't a person who is in active combat. It's that if you are in any way affiliated, if we even think you're affiliated, then you're considered to be a legitimate target. And this is the problem, is when I talk about how the international system has been turned on its head, this is precisely what Israel's done, is they've turned everybody into a target unless you prove otherwise. And there's no way to prove otherwise in this system. And so,
great points, but there is no call to prove anything in a unipolar system. Israel has the United States. What the United States supports is above international law. So, to an extent, the Israelis trying to quote unquote generate consent over how we should perceive the Palestinian people is something they're doing to an extent just out of relative courtesy, mostly to the American administration, especially the Joe Biden one. It's not a mechanism that makes sure that nobody comes and stops them as they're doing this to Palestinians. It's simply a PR courtesy for the electoral body over in the United States to swallow it a little bit better, right? As well as some more squeamish Israelis domestically as well. So that's what I want you guys to understand the difference, right? The reason they can do this is because power. That's it. Nobody's big enough or strong enough to stop the United States, nor do they care enough to, so they don't. When they're doing the PR pitch, they're simply doing the PR pitch in order to appease the American electorate and the more squeamish domestic Israeli electorate. Those two things have different goals, different purpose. Okie dokie? We understand it? Very good.
even with all of this technology that we have out there, all the AI that Israel boasts, for some reason, they still...
You could call it something like manufacturing approval, creating consent. I don't know. I'm sure we can get a good name for this. Absolutely. But again, they are manufacturing consent for the American population and the squeamish Israelis. When it comes to the rest of the world is irrelevant. Because when you have the American state apparatus, American capital more importantly, and the subsection of the American capital known as the MITS, military-industrial complex, then it doesn't matter who consents or doesn't consent, what consent has been manufactured or not. The only reason they're manufacturing it is we're post necessity for consent. This is not fucking 2005, okay? They're doing it just to like appease, to like, okay, whatever, let's fucking do it because why not, right? So that, you know, the current American administration doesn't have to deal with too many PR problems that might rise out of this situation.
Still can't seem to just go after the people who are combatants. And it's because they don't want to. Their whole point is to terrorize an entire population.
Barricade armed incident outside CIA headquarters right now. Send me a link. Huh?
So that everybody is considered to be a target.
Also because manufacturing consent has become a business, so they still need to make money. That as well. Yeah, that as well. There's continuous fucking content on YouTube, on broadcast TV on the topic like rah, so that it can generate capital. Because it's a situation that most people follow attentively, and unfortunately, I don't think the majority of them follow it attentively because they want it to stop or want something to change or believe something can change, but as a, kind of absurd entertainment.
This, again, is the height of dehumanization. I think that this is just straight up genocide. And I think that when we view it in its proper context of there's no fighting back. These were people who were asleep in their beds, they weren't even in beds because most of them were in tents. You can see that this is just a straight up massacre of Palestinians, and it's part of their process of genocide.
And that's The Take. We really want to hear your thoughts on today's episode. What did you think?
Thank you very much to The Take. Always interesting takes. But jokes aside, very, very, very good report. Now we're moving over to the most relevant news that have come in only 1 hour earlier, and then we'll move on.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israel continued its relentless attacks across the Gaza Strip overnight, killing at least 27 Palestinians one day after Israel unilaterally withdrew from the Gaza ceasefire and launched massive new strikes. At least 5 international aid workers were rushed to Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah after they were injured in an Israeli...
Welcome to Depression Now, depressionnow.com, brought to you by Amy Badman and the War and War Report.
Israeli airstrike that targeted a United Nations facility. The group Defense for Children denounced the massacre of at least 174 children by Israeli forces on Tuesday, calling it, quote, one of the largest one-day child death tolls in Gaza's history.
One of the largest child death tolls in Gaza's history. There's a hierarchy there. It happens so often that there's a hierarchy there.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Defense for Children Palestine wrote in a statement, quote, Israeli forces have signed a death warrant for Palestinian children in Gaza as they carry out nonstop attacks, continue to destroy civilian infrastructure and prevent any humanitarian aid from reaching Palestinians in need. This is nothing short of a genocide, they said. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said he's outraged by the new wave of Israeli airstrikes on Gaza that have killed well over 400 people since Monday. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatened the latest bombardment campaign on Gaza is only the beginning and said all future ceasefire talks will now take place under fire. Families of the remaining and recently released hostages have joined protests urging Netanyahu to return to the negotiating table. Protests broke out around the world Tuesday, condemning Israel's renewed bombardment of Gaza, shattering the ceasefire agreement with Hamas. Here in New York, hundreds of protesters gathered in Times Square Tuesday. Democracy Now! Was there. This is Isabella Titi of the Palestinian Youth Movement.
I think our movement is only growing. More and more people are conscious about what's happening in Palestine, and the attack that we're feeling right now in the U.S. on our First Amendment rights is showing us that the U.S. is willing to do anything in order to protect its relationship with Israel, and it will not be met with silence.
Mahmoud Khalil has called himself a political prisoner in his first direct remarks to the public since federal immigration agents arrested him without a warrant on March 8th in Columbia University housing. In a letter dictated over the phone from an...
Apologies for the interruption.
As we are following breaking news out of the D.C. area, I want to head back live to Fairfax County, Virginia. This is a live look right here, and you can see that the photographer now panning in on a drone right outside this scene right here. This is a live look near a large police presence near the CIA headquarters. Right now, the photographer panning in on that drone right here. But take a look at this. This is just 2 blocks away from the CIA headquarters in Fairfax County, Virginia. You can see just how many police officers and vehicles are stationed there right now. A very large police presence, currently just 2 blocks away from CIA headquarters in McLean, Virginia.
So near it, okay.
Virginia. This is the very latest. As you can see, there does appear to be a SWAT team alongside for, of course, security purposes, lights flashing as it is gearing to drive down this. They have issued a traffic alert indicating that traffic has been shut down on Dolly Madison Boulevard in both directions between Georgetown Park and Seville Lane in McLean for a barricade incident. That is what police in Fairfax County are calling this, a barricade incident at the CIA headquarters.
Okay, somebody barricaded themselves inside or some shit. Chaos at CIA headquarters as a man with a gun makes threats after JFK files release. Really, bruv, that was oh my god, that was your trigger. God, hogs are hogs. CIA headquarters were sent into lockdown on Wednesday morning after a gunman was spotted near the agency's base. The armed man, who has not been identified, reportedly pulled a handgun and made threats outside the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. Chat, we have a chatter, confirmed chatter at CIA headquarters. Confirmed chatter. Reports indicate the man experienced a mental health crisis. The chatter is white. Was seen sitting on a bench outside the property and pointed a handgun at the agency headquarters. So just pointed to nothing. Confirmed most definitely to be white. Police, SWAT teams, and bomb squads rushed to the scene, and a passerby described the law enforcement response as massive. Of course, hogs must defend their hog overlords. If you're a police officer, of course, you consider the CIA to be your lawfully wedded father. Early reports... What the fuck? The fuck? Fucking MacBooks. Early reports falsely indicated the man fired his weapon into the air outside the CIA headquarters. However, okay, this might be a coincidence. There was a depressed as fuck guy about the JFK shit sitting on a bench. That was it. CIA plunged into lockdown. Ooh, look at us. We got equipment. Ooh, look at all the equipment. The incident comes just an hour after President Trump ordered the release of classified files related to the 1963 assassination of John F. Kennedy. Conspiracy theories have swirled in the decade since the assassination that the CIA was involved in the shooting. However, there is no indication from law enforcement that the gunman incident on Wednesday morning was related to the file release. Chaos at CIA headquarters as man with gun makes threats after Dude, a fucking Daily Mail, bro. Daily Mail is so fucked up. Look, like here, they clickbait the shit out of you by saying that this might kind of be related. And then you scroll all the way down. They're like, yeah, no, not related. Not really related. Not really related to the JFK stuff. What the fuck is this website? CIA headquarters have faced blah, 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 blah. Nobody gives a shit. Okay. I wish the CIA A very, 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 very merry go. Okay. Back to depressionnow.com. Hawks suddenly do dialectical materialism when the perpetrator is white. Yakubian MK Ultra activation. he was set up before JFK was assassinated, and they were like, if anybody releases JFK files and you hear it on the TV, the MK Ultra, and you must activate, and you become a super soldier. But because he was a sleeper cell, he completely forgot, and then he heard JFK files and he lost his shit. But why JFK files back when JFK was alive? That's exactly the point. All the JFK super soldiers need to activate to defend JFK from potential leaked files while he was alive.
ICE jail in Jena, Louisiana. Mahmoud Khalil decried his arrest, anti-Palestinian racism by both the Biden and Trump administrations, and the inhumane conditions faced by immigrant detainees. His open letter reads, quote, "My arrest was a direct consequence of exercising my right to free speech as I advocated for a free Palestine and an end to the genocide in Gaza. While I await legal decisions that hold the futures of my wife and child in the balance, those who enabled my targeting remain comfortably at Columbia University."
This is one of the many different tools that the United States has developed and many other countries as well, through the decades, originally practiced on communists pretty much during the Cold War. And this tactic in particular isn't necessarily completely based on this particular brave gentleman. It is the main goal of it is to tell everybody else who is actively going out in the streets or organizing for solidarity with Palestinian brothers, sisters, and enemies to understand that this might happen to them. It is classic intimidation tactic. You take somebody who's well known in this particular movement, and you make sure everybody else understands that if it can happen to him, it can happen to you. Thank you, NMAC958 for the Prime sub. Thank you very much, my dear friend.
Knowing fully that this moment transcends my individual circumstances, I hope nonetheless to be free to witness the birth of my firstborn child, unquote. Mahmoud Khalil is a green card holder. His wife, Noor Abdullah, is a U.S. citizen who's 8 months pregnant. Khalil's legal team has filed a motion with a federal court in New York asking for his immediate release. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts issued a rare statement Tuesday rebuking President Trump and his allies for their calls to impeach federal judges who rule against the administration. Roberts wrote, quote, "For more than two..."
Holy shit, what the fuck are the Turks doing, dude? What the fuck are the Turks doing? Erdogan rival arrested days before becoming presidential candidate. Fucking Erdogan, bro, you can't do this shit so in the open. What the fuck, dude? Come on, you need, you've been working with the Americans for so long. You gotta have some fucking, oh, Lord.
Üzülerek söylüyorum. Milletimizin
I regret to say that a handful of individuals are trying to usurp the will of our nation by abusing police power. The security forces of this country have gathered at the door of my home. Hundreds of police are here. We are facing intimidation, but I want you to know that I won't be intimidated. I love you all so much. I entrust myself to my people. Let all our nation know that I will stand up strong.
Hepinizi çok seviyorum. Ben kendimi milletime emanet ediyorum.
I will continue to fight with that person who uses state process like his own apparatus.
Aparat gibi kullanan aklıyla.
Holy shit. So, okay. Turkish authorities have detained mayor of Istanbul, the mayor of one of the biggest cities in the world, and quite literally the main seats of power of the country. Not the capital city, but one could argue the main seat of power of the entire country, and obviously the most progressive place in the country, right? So Mr. Ekrem from the Secular Republican People's Party is seen as one of Turkish President Erdogan's strongest political rivals. Prosecutors accused him of corruption and aiding a terrorist group, calling him a criminal organization leader suspect. Police detained 100 people, including other politicians, journalists, and businessmen, as part of the investigation, and the Istanbul governor's office has imposed 4 days of restrictions. Wow, 4 days of restrictions in the city. That's crazy, dude. Police detained 100 people. Politicians, journalists, and different types of businessmen. Right as the election is coming. That is like, Erdogan, you are like fucking, just what's next? You start shooting them in the streets like fucking Godfather style. The fuck? Even more unnecessary because they took away his university degree, and you need one in Turkey to become a presidential candidate. Holy shit. They revoked his diploma as well. Oh my God. Literally no elegance to this. Like, absolutely no elegance to this. Why do you think this is going to pay off? You stupid fuck. Protests have erupted on Turkey's streets and university campuses, of course, and in underground stations, of course, with crowds chanting anti-government slogans. The display of public anger not seen in years. There were reports of clashes between protesters and police in Turkey's largest city. Did my guy realize that he's definitely fucking losing, so he was like, fuck it, let's just arrest him? Then my guy literally be like, I will lose Turkey. I must arrest all opponents. They are not for re-establishment of great Ottoman Empire. They are secular dogs. They must die. Man is going on his full sultanum arc. Full sultanum. Thank you for the bits, baby. Hugo, do you think Erdogan will be overthrown? He's also very unpopular because of Palestine. He has so much entrenched power that will be extremely difficult. But one step towards potentially making your situation unstable, even when you have so much entrenched power, is when you start so openly annihilating your opposition. They also turned down the internet again. My mom wasn't really able to reach my sister earlier today. Jesus. Erdogan is ripping our justice system and constitution. Opposition party was doing basically nothing. Sultan Erdogan is here to stay. He's going to become the God Emperor of mankind. Oh, Lord. A coup against our next president. The arrest comes as a part of a major crackdown nationwide in recent months, targeting opposition politicians, municipalities, journalists, and figures in the entertainment industry. So it's been an ongoing process, but they hadn't arrested such a key political figure such as this. And only during that same day, they arrested 100 other people. Erdogan's getting old, and he doesn't want to deal with bullshit anymore. He's like, why do I have to keep up the charade of liberal democracy? Let me just put my my beautiful Turkish boots on my people's neck. So yeah, basically he's making sure he does not lose. The CHP's presidential candidate selection, in which Imanoglu is the only person running, is set to take place on Sunday. I know, I wouldn't do this if I was Erdogan. I'm not really fucking smart. Turks in chat, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Crazy day. Another Balkan country in which everything is going fucking crazy. In the beginning of stream, I told you 60 people died in Macedonia because of because of corruption. Somebody got a license for a club in a building that was not real. So probably through paying under the table. So 60 people died, so people are protesting. 15 people died over in Serbia, so there's some of the biggest protests on the planet right now. In Bulgaria, there's protests over the cops not being able to find and stop this very weird, animal murdering ring. And now we have a kind of complete political chokehold developing over in Istanbul. Crazy shit. By the way, the Mahmoud letter is in our DMs. Yeah, I saw the Democracy Now! Just read out the most important segments of them. Thank you, AnMac958, fucking G. Thank you very much for the 3 community subs. That's very kind. And that leaves us with, I believe, 2 more community gift subs before I donate another 5, because only here, the more you oil me up, the more I oil you up. Very Erdogan style.
Centuries.
Bro, we need a black and white purge because this corruption is off the charts. Andro, brate, I agree completely, dude. I agree completely.
It's been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review.
But okay, if you want it, I'll read it. Okay, my name is Mahmoud Khalil, and I'm a political prisoner. I'm writing to you from a detention facility in Louisiana, where I wake to cold mornings and spend long days bearing witness to the quiet injustices underway against a great many people precluded from the protections of the law. Who has the right to have rights? It is certainly not the humans crowded in the cells here. It isn't the Senegalese man I met who has been deprived of his liberty for a year, his legal situation in limbo, and his family an ocean away. It isn't the 21-year-old detainee I met who stepped foot in this country at age 9, only to be deported without so much as a hearing. Justice escapes the contours of this nation's immigration facilities. On March 8th, I was taken by DHS agents who refused to provide a warrant and accosted my wife and me as we returned from dinner. By now, the footage of that night has been made public. Before I knew what was happening, agents handcuffed and forced me into an unmarked car. At that moment, my only concern was for Noor's safety. I had no idea if she would be taken too, since the agents had threatened to arrest her for not leaving my sight. The SS would not tell me anything for hours. I did not know the cause of my arrest or if I was facing immediate deportation. At 26 Federal Plaza, I slept on the cold floor. In the early morning hours, agents transported me to another facility in Elizabeth, New Jersey. There, I slept on the ground and was refused a blanket despite my request. My arrest was a direct consequence of exercising my right to free speech as I advocated for a free Palestine and an end to the genocide in Gaza, which resumed in full force Monday night. With January's ceasefire now broken, parents in Gaza are once again cradling two small shrouds, and families are forced to wage starvation and displacement against bombs. It is our moral imperative to persist in the struggle for their complete freedom. I was born in a Palestinian refugee camp in Syria to a family which has been displaced from their land since the 1948 Nakba. I spent my youth in proximity to yet distant from my homeland. But being Palestinian is an experience that transcends borders. I see in my circumstances similarities to Israel's use of administrative detention, imprisonment without trial of charge, to strip Palestinians of their rights. I think our friend Omar Khatib, who was incarcerated without charge or trial by Israel as he returned from travel. I think of Gaza Hospital Director and pediatrician Dr. Hussan Abu Safia, who was taken captive by the Israeli military on December 27th and remains in an Israeli torture camp today. For Palestinians, imprisonment without due process is commonplace. I have always believed that my duty is not only to liberate myself from the oppressor, but also to liberate my oppressors from their hatred and fear. My unjust detention is indicative of the anti-Palestinian racism that both the Biden and Trump administrations have demonstrated over the past 16 months as the U.S. has continued to supply Israel with weapons to kill Palestinians and prevented international intervention. For decades, anti-Palestinian racism has driven efforts to expand U.S. laws and practices that are used to violently repress Palestinians, Arab Americans, and other communities. That is precisely why I am being targeted. While I await legal decisions that hold the future of my wife and children in the balance, those who enabled my targeting remain comfortably at Columbia University. Presidents Shafiq Armstrong and Dean Yarchimilo laid the groundwork for the U.S. government to target me by arbitrarily disciplining pro-Palestinian students and allowing viral doxing campaigns based on racism and disinformation to go unchecked. Colombia targeted me for my activism, created a new authoritarian disciplinary office to bypass due process and silence students criticizing Israel. Colombia surrendered to federal pressure by disclosing student records to Congress and yielding to the Trump administration's latest threats. My arrest, the expulsion or suspension of at least 22 Colombia students, some stripped of their bachelor degrees just weeks before graduation, and the expulsion of SWC President Grant Minor on the eve of contract negotiations are clear examples. If anything, my detention is a testament to the strength of the student movement in a shifting public opinion towards Palestinian liberation. Students have long been at the forefront of change, leading the charge against the Vietnam War, standing on the front lines of the civil rights movement, and driving the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. Today, too, even if the public has yet to fully grasp it, it is students who steer us towards truth and justice. The Trump administration is targeting me as part of a broader strategy to suppress dissent. Visa holders, green card carriers, and citizens alike will all be targeted for their political beliefs. In the weeks ahead, students, advocates, and elected officials must unite to defend the right to protest for Palestine. At stake are not just our voices, but the fundamental civil liberties of all. Knowing fully that this moment transcends my individual circumstances, I hope nonetheless to be free to witness the birth of my firstborn child. Letter from a Palestinian political prisoner in Louisiana, dictated over the phone from ICE detention, March 18th, 2025. There is nothing I can add that our dear comrade has not already said. Thank you for your service and to a quick, hopeful release, even though I am respectfully, unfortunately, doubtful. If you have any resources that you can direct to the potential release of our dear comrade, then please direct them that way. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, if anybody has a link that the mods can please check after you send it. I don't want to potentially con anyone because especially in the first few days, there's like 7 million fake links to fake funds and so on. Do send it my way, and we will pin it so that people can give any sort of acceptable financial support, any sort of financial support that they can afford to our dear friend, and to his hopeful quick liberation, especially before his lovely wife gives birth, hopefully. The soundboard said it best, right? Absolutely. But yeah, thank you for your service. I know there's the GoFundMe campaign to free. Yes, send. If anybody knows about a link, please send it my way, and then the mods will check its legitimacy. And then, if it's checked to be legitimate, we will very gladly pin it. Okay, if Pandas is sending me a link, that means it's real. Unlike Israel. There we go. This appears to be the correct one, which we will pin. Justice for Mahmoud Khalil. Urgent support needed. I will, of course, donate. I find donating publicly a bit in bad taste. But I give you my word that I will. And everybody else, you have the link below where you can go and give support to this brilliant, beautiful, handsome, smart tavarish of ours. Hvala vam puno. Now, back to Depression Now, depressionnow.com.
Review process exists for that purpose, unquote. Roberts' statement came after Trump repeatedly attacked U.S. District Judge James Boasberg, who ordered the Trump administration to stop using the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to deport immigrants. On social media, President Trump called Boasberg a, quote, radical left lunatic of...
I believe for Hugo, it is Zin time. Let me just go and collect my Zin so that I can look all googly-eyed for you beautiful, beautiful chatters. Uno momento. Don't look at my ass as I stand up.
Of a judge and a troublemaker and an agitator. Numerous Trump officials have openly threatened to defy court orders. Meanwhile, Judge Boasberg has accused the administration of adopting an approach of, quote, we don't care, we'll do what we want, unquote. We'll have more on this story later in the broadcast. In Colorado, dozens of people gathered for a rally Tuesday evening demanding the release of longtime immigrant rights leader Jeanette Vizquera, who was ambushed during a work break on Monday and taken into custody by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. She's now being jailed at an ICE detention center in Aurora, run by the private prison company Geo Group. In a phone call from inside detention, Vizquera shared this message with supporters who held a vigil outside the...
Also, I completely forgot it's no longer dry February. Oh, remember last month, chat? That was a long month. So I can have a beer with you fuckers. The worst beer in the world. I despise this thing, but it's the only thing I had in my fridge. Stella, don't buy it. It sucks.
ICE jail in the freezing rain Tuesday.
I want you to know I'm not going to surrender. I'm going to keep fighting, and even if they remove me, I'm going to continue doing binational work, and they are not going to silence my voice.
Jeanette Vizquera drew national attention in 2017 when she took sanctuary in a Denver church, along with her 4 children, 3 of whom are U.S. born, to avoid deportation. She's lived in the...
Dude, those pants do not flatter your dumpy. I recommend some spandex. Maybe leather and lace. What the fuck are you talking about? Those some good old American jeans, brother. Those some good old American jeans. What do you mean they don't fucking flatter my dumpy? My dumpy looking good, brother. My dumpy looking sweet.
United States.
But for you, Gabriel, I'll put on whatever. Whatever you're into, Daddy. Yes.
For nearly 30 years, since leaving Mexico City in 1997 with her husband and her then 6-year-old daughter. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston condemned her arrest as a
Jamie's very weirdly timed subscription. Thank you, brother, for supporting a fellow jeans-wearing patriot, brother. For like 50 years, I was fucking, when the commies ruled my part of the world, you know how hard it was to get a good pair of fucking Levi jeans? Holy fucking shit, it was some good old British Stella with the mates. But now I'm living the dream, brother. I'm streaming on an American platform, wearing American jeans, drinking British beer, and begging Westerners for subscriptions, like Solstice RL. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Here's to no fucking dry Februaries, at least for another year. Cheerio, 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 or whatever you fuckers say over there. Yee-haw! Yeehaw? I don't know. Yeehaw, motherfucker.
Putin-style persecution of political dissidents. Later,
Bitwef, drink a Stella, watching footy is no longer just a British way of life, brother. It has now come to our shores as well. Global cultural imperialism shall make the Slav one day subsist exclusively on burger. Thank you, Gabriel. Blat, we Romanians were looking over the river at you Yugoslavs and how nice your jeans were. Absolutely. Yeah, in Yugoslavia we had jeans, which was smart, in my opinion. Painting particular commodities as a de facto capitalist was a big L.
During the broadcast, we'll...
Oh my God, skateboards. You like skateboards? That means you're a traitor to the Soviet Union. What the fuck? Get over yourself, bruv. Thank you very much, Saffron X. How did these charges get on my debit card? I don't know. Keep pressing the button. You have if you want the charges to stop, you don't click on subscribe. You click on gift a sub. Okay, gift a sub is in Serbo-Croatian stop subscribing. And then you have to pick the one that says 20. The one that says 20, and then it stops. It stops sending. It stops sending.
Go to Colorado to speak with Jeanette Vizguera's daughter, Luna Baez. Russia's military launched fresh attacks on Ukraine overnight, firing dozens of drones toward the capital and bombing the eastern city of Sumy, where a drone strike on a hospital forced the evacuation of more than 100 patients. Meanwhile, Russian officials said a Ukrainian drone attack triggered a fire at an oil terminal in the southern region of Krasnodar. The violence came just hours after Russia said President Vladimir Putin had agreed to pause attacks on energy targets temporarily during a 2-hour phone call with President Trump. According to the Kremlin, Putin declined to endorse a full 30-day ceasefire and emphasized any deal is contingent on the U.S. and its allies halting all military aid and intelligence to Ukraine. The Kremlin's readout of the call directly contradicts this comment by President Trump on Fox News.
We didn't talk about aid, actually. We didn't talk about aid at all. We talked about a lot of things, but aid was never discussed.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he would likely support the new, more limited ceasefire, though he was waiting for more information about it. Zelensky's scheduled to speak by phone with Trump later today. Meanwhile, Germany's outgoing government has agreed to send an additional €3 billion worth of military aid to Ukraine. Germany's defense minister blasted Trump's agreement with Putin, saying it counts for nothing, and said Trump would have to win greater concessions.
To an extent, yeah, let's see more detailed analysis of the Trump-Putin conversation. Then we'll move back to general news. Shut up, Amy. Don't scare me like this. Okay.
Some breaking news. President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin just...
what we know for now, a little take you step for next. How did these charges... Oh, sorry. I'm reading the same thing. What we know for now is that basically the Russians are pushing this. I don't know how smart it is on their end to be pushing it. I believe they think they have more cards in their hands than they do, because I think the bet is that Trump bet too much on stopping this war. So they're trying to extract even more than what the Americans were willing to consent to. And obviously, unfortunately, nobody asked the Ukrainians about anything in this deal.
Ended their phone call about a potential ceasefire in Ukraine.
But for anybody that's new here, I've said it like 50 fucking times. The Russian Federation State Department would be absolutely idiotic not to accept a potential deal with the Trump administration, because they will never have a more lenient, let's call it, conversation partner on the other hand than this. A conversation partner very, very willing to betray its, up until yesterday, Ukrainian ally in order to just stop this for domestic, administrative, political PR. But I guess the Russians are pushing a bit, which I don't know how that's going to play out, because while Trump is known for wanting these bombastic changes to come forward, he's also known to just stop talking about it and completely ignore it and never do it. So he could do the same thing here. Just all of a sudden stop talking about Putin, and that's it.
Ukraine, we are told the two leaders spoke for at least an hour and a half. Now, President Trump has said in recent days the call was expected to cover Russia and Ukraine dividing up certain assets. That would include a contentious proposal allowing Russia to keep control of the Zaporizhzhia power plant, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. President Trump seeming confident last night that a deal could be reached.
But it's a bad situation in Russia, and it's a bad situation in Ukraine. What's happening in Ukraine is not good, but we're going to see if we can work a peace agreement, a ceasefire and peace, and I think we'll be able to do it.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky has accused President Putin of dragging out the war to gain more concessions. Let's go right to...
That is definitely what is happening. And I'm not just saying this because I'm pro-Ukrainian or pro-Russian or pro-whoever the fuck. They are definitely trying to get more concessions out of this. But there is a very, 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 very real potential of the Russians dragging it out far too much. And just hitting the American ego a bit too much on the nose. Which would be the fumble of the fucking century.
NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons, who's joining us from inside Russia in the Kursk region, which is
I feel like the Russians are trying to stall the negotiations since they're finally really making gains in the battlefield. They made gains before. Yes, they're making gains now, but they are coping if they think that they'll be able to move like kilometers a day. But if they can get a couple of more kilometers in a matter of a couple of weeks, then sure, they'll stall for those few weeks. But that leads us back to the conversation of like what type of territory is going to be given. Is it the one that they currently hold, or the one that they held like a year ago, or the one that they held like 3 months ago, or the ones that they held at the start of the negotiation? And then the question is, do they actually want that territory that they're currently trying to take, or they want like to be holding a larger piece of land so that they can use that also in the negotiating tactic by saying we can give it back to you, etc., etc. There's like 700 historical examples of how this plays out. And we'll know only when time, with time. Main reason I'm talking about a potential fumble is because there's so many egos involved here. Right? There's so many egos involved here. Freudian hour with Yugopnik. So many egos, not just domestic political consent. So arguably, the biggest potential sabotage can come from that, not rational state management.
a place where Ukraine had initially made some inroads and then has since been forced out of that territory. Keir, what do we know about this phone call? Any details yet?
None yet. I mean, we do hear from a White House official speaking to our own Peter Alexander that the call is...
Also, the White House is calling me.
We do not care.
But I do. What is the White House saying? There are 7 American versions of the Dongfeng missile pointed at you. Not at me, at the chatters, but what is the American version of the Dongfeng missile? Oh yeah, advertising. An ad is about to play in exactly 10 seconds. A advertising missile will fly through your window, but you can press X to dodge by becoming a subscriber for $6 a month of free through Prime, or by oiling me up, and for every 10 oils, also known as gift subs, I donate another 5, because nobody should be shot with the American version of a Dongfeng missile. An ad. Thank you very much.
Over, that it took around 90 minutes. That's not as long as a phone call as...
10 out of 10 from you, VDV. That's a big sign of respect.
Wonderful. You might think, because keep in mind that any call...
Thank you, Yoshoki, and we have reached the 10 sub threshold, which means another 5 for me, myself, and I. There you go. Full. We are creating the advertisement
Wonderful.
Iron Dome.
A new child soldier. Subscriber.
And then it's socialism or barbarism with another 5. You beautiful fuckers. Come on. Keep it coming, baby. Keep it coming. That 2000 is still far away, but we can get there. We can get there.
Wonderful. Between an American president and the Russian president includes translation. There is lots of reporting about the kinds of things the Trump administration...
Kubashi, a 7 out of 10 again. 7 out of 10 again. Seriously. Kubashi is the most difficult chatter when it comes to my ad pitches. Kubashi, do you work in advertising? Like, unironically.
Might be agreeing to issues that are likely to raise concern in Ukraine and many European capitals.
Fuck, Melania looks so good.
Questions about Ukraine's ability to defend itself, about its territory, as you mentioned, about power
room for growth
plants. So it's going to be contentious, a lot of it, and there's a long way to go with questions about exactly what, for example, European allies might have to say about anything the Trump administration might be signing up to with the Kremlin. As you say, we're here in Kursk, and this is a region that was held by the Ukrainians for 7 months.
Fucking motherfucker with the 10 and then Namak. Nimitz with 958. Let's fucking go. Thank you very much. Here's another 5. You fucking beautiful sons of a bitch. I like them very much, guy.
They've now been...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Look at our beautiful Oilers and say, we love our beautiful Oilers.
Largely pushed back apart from a slither along the border. We went to a village where there was intense fighting and parts of which were held by the Ukrainians during that incursion. We spoke to one military volunteer, a Russian, and if you want to ask the question, should there be a ceasefire? Do people want a ceasefire here in Russia as well as, of course, in Ukraine? Well, the answer is yes, many are tired of it. Take a listen.
We have never been supporters of military actions. Why? Because any war is not romantic. It is death. No values are worth human life. And we understand this perfectly well. And we're all for any opportunity to stop actions, combat. Why? Because neither Ukrainians, nor we, nor the West, nor America need it. No one needs it. Any war is the loss of lives of worthy citizens of their country.
Well, let's replay that properly. Holy shit.
And we understand this perfectly well. And we're all for any opportunity to stop actions, combat. Why? Because neither Ukrainians, nor we, nor the West, nor America need it. No one needs it. Any war is the loss of lives of worthy citizens of their country.
Couldn't say it better myself. Thank you, MXG. Thank you very much. That's always the meme where you ask a Westerner about a particular thing and they give you a concise 2 sentences. You ask a Slav, especially that's been through a traumatic experience about a thing, and you immediately get like 3 Anna Kareninas.
Of course, many Russians have been supportive of military action, and it was President Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine that began this war. Now the question is he getting many of the things he has wanted for so long
Thank you, MBG, very much.
in exchange for agreeing to a ceasefire?
Keir Simmons, thank you very much for your reporting. We're all waiting any kind of readout from this call. In the meantime, let's bring in Ambassador Michael Carpenter. He's the former National Security Council Senior Director for Europe. Ambassador, thanks for joining us. President Trump trying to close the deal on that 30-day ceasefire proposal agreed to by Ukraine last week. And
this is like, please do not interpret this as me running defense for Trump. Fuck him. I will piss on his... Wait. I will piss on his... as I take out an... Okay? But this is MSNBC running the continuous, like, oh, it didn't happen immediately. Oh, it didn't happen immediately. He must be failing. It didn't happen immediately. He must be failing. It didn't happen immediately type shit, right? There's going to be a long fucking negotiation process, etc., etc. This is MSNBC, trying to score some points, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they're scoring points very appropriately by properly outlining that the United States had promised Ukraine indefinite, continuous support, and now they're basically throwing them to the wolves and almost completely abandoning them. Most importantly, abandoning the main promises that they were giving out, that so many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, were led into battle because they believed they would always receive full American support. That's absolutely adequate commentary. But here it's like, it didn't happen now. He's not that good at deals. Type shit, right? Type shit.
in Saudi Arabia. Can this be achieved in one phone call?
Well, this is going to be a big litmus test of whether Putin is serious about doing a deal with President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine.
Is it uncoded to say type shit now? If you tell me that type shit is out already, I will just take the unk pill at this point. I will take the unk pill. I really enjoy saying type shit.
I suspect that...
Tell me, young people in chat, tell me. Is type shit still okay? Is it acceptable? Is type shit acceptable? Type shit is new. Yes! I am indeed young. It's still in. It's acceptable. Thank you, young people. Thank you. Hey, I'm one of the youngs.
Be conditions attached to any kind of ceasefire if, in fact, Putin agrees to it. And that's a big if. We don't know whether he will back off from some of his maximalist demands, at least in the near term.
They would be very stupid if they demand full Ukrainian demilitarization, okay? And if they believe that they can take territory without NATO troops being placed in Ukraine, that is Porzikop. Like, you're not getting that. You are not getting that.
But in the long
But if you ask that in the beginning, like as your main kind of this is what we want, and then you move back from it, it can be a negotiation tactic.
term, Putin insists.
At least I'd be surprised. You can clip me in the future. I'd be surprised if even the current administration would just really wants a quick win through quote unquote peace. If I doubt that the American State Department would agree on something like that.
Insists on getting 5 regions of Ukraine ceded to Russia and wants to militarily cap Ukraine's potential over the long term, prevent it from entering NATO. He has not shown that he's willing to back off one iota from those demands. And so now we sort of see the tactics of whether Putin wants to maintain the good graces of the Trump administration by appearing to show that he's being constructive, or is he going to attach conditions even for a 30-day ceasefire? That's the question.
As we await any kind of details from this phone call, we do know Putin had floated some conditions that he would agree to a ceasefire only if it leads to long-term peace. And he hinted that would mean barring Ukraine from receiving military aid or mobilizing new forces. He wants Ukraine to give Russia the regions they're currently occupying. He wants guarantees that Ukraine will not join
that he will get
NATO. Should President Trump push back on those demands? How would he go about that?
No, territory you can't push back on that.
Absolutely. I mean, this would be undermining all of the principles of the UN Charter, the Helsinki Final Act, and so many other documents that the United States and Russia and so many other countries have signed together. It would be essentially legitimizing the use of force to violate an international border, invade a neighboring country, and then take 5 regions of that country. Be essentially that the.
Okay, I will play this in the background. Just 1 second, I apologize. I, to an extent, agree with the gentleman, but it would not be. let's just do this.
The United States and Russia and so many other countries have signed together. It would be essentially legitimizing the use of force to violate an international border, invade a neighboring country, and then take 5 regions of that country away from it for no reason. It would be as if an adversary of the United States came, invaded our country, and occupied 5 U.S. states and demanded that they be ceded to that foreign power. And don't forget that for Ukrainians as well, this is not just a war about a sliver of territory. It is, from their perspective, a genocide. About a sliver of territory. It is, from their perspective, a genocidal war because Ukrainians are being punished for speaking Ukrainian, for having a Ukrainian identity. And the Russians, for their part, have instituted this far-flung system of what they call filtration camps, where Ukrainians.
I know the point of a stream is for me to talk, but I don't need to talk. You have a screen. Oh, Lord.
Are tortured, where they're killed, where they're raped in large numbers, precisely.
Do we need to do it again? Do I need to do it again?
Because of their Ukrainian identity. So,
do I need to do it again?
President Zelensky is not.
I agree with him, but I doubt he would make the same parallel.
Not going to agree to some of these demands from Putin just because the U.S. president presents that as the way to end this war.
Michael Carpenter, we appreciate your insights and expertise. Thanks for joining us, and we'll, of course, keep everybody.
Can anybody find what this gentleman said about the Israeli breaking of the ceasefire and the murder of over 180 children in the matter of a day. If anybody can find it, I would be mucho thankful.
Updated, should we learn more about that phone call between the two leaders?
Let's see what Ukrainian people say. Personally, I don't know if the Trump administration is listening to us, but I believe and I'm confident that the citizens... The United States in every corner of this great and beautiful country. Dude, like you have just been betrayed in 4K by the United States. Come on. Understand that they're not your friend either. The Ukrainian administration, for example, understands that and has now like completely solidified itself in the understanding that the United States was an ally of convenience, but leave it to young people to think that burgers and flags are your friends. Burgers, eagles, and flags are your friends because they actually care about the preservation of
Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!
Вони будуть надалі чинити тиск на свій уряд задля того, щоб допомагати нашому народу і нашій державі.
Відчуваю те, що словам Путіна взагалі немає ніякої...
Felt that Putin's words had no credibility at all. Thank you, Joel, my fucking G. What is that? Joel is fucking 22nd gift sub, you fucking legend. And Joel did not just give 10 gift subs. He gave 15. Because only on YugopnikTwitch do we not believe in math. There you go, another 5 from me, myself, and Joel.
Wonderful, a new child soldier,
І те, що він каже, через тиждень все може змінитись.
True, that's true.
От просто отак от.
Чи вірю я в те, що ця розмова до чогось приведе?
Wonderful, a new child soldier,
Напевно, так.
subscriber.
Коли ж це все ж таки должно закінчитися? І говорити вже де...
Hope pills will probably, yes, someday all this must end and lead to some
дії закінчення війни.
Wonderful, a new
action,
child soldier,
the end of the war. How
subscriber.
quickly this will happen, I don't think it will be soon. Okay, so half hope pill. Appreciate it. No, I appreciate you, Joel. And thank you, and Mac, for another 2 gifties, you beautiful son of a bitch.
Child soldier,
Як швидко це станеться, думаю, ще не скоро. Я просто з Чернігова, у нас вчора як прилетіло і зруйнувало дуже багато будинків, тому я вже в це не вірю зовсім. Але все ж таки все можливо, тому віримо на краще.
So still everything is possible. We'll believe in the best.
Now, Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić is denying claims that his police...
Oh, Jesus, don't fucking Vučić scare me. Holy fucking shit. Don't Vučić scare me. Okay, moving on to another Slavic country, Serbia. For those of you who do not know, the Balkans have been unhinged for the last, in Serbia for the last 4 months, but the entire Balkan Peninsula, Macedonia, 60 people die because a club was opened in a warehouse that it did not get a sign-off from the state to open it in. Probably they got the sign-off by paying under the table, aka corruption. 60 people die. Macedonians are now out in the streets demanding justice. In Turkey, the mayor of Istanbul and over 100 other political figures and journalists have been arrested by Erdogan, and the Turkish people are responding. In Bulgaria, people are out in the streets to demand justice for the police not doing their job on time and stopping a very strange, very fucked up ring of like S&M animal killing group, a very fucked up shit. And in Serbia, we have arguably the biggest protest the country has ever seen. To quote one random protester I saw the other day, most of you probably know about Milosevic, right? The unhinged right-wing leader of the Serbs during the destruction of the beautiful Yugoslav experiment. Well, the guy being interviewed was like, listen, like Milosevic did fucked up things, but domestically, he ran and domestically he ran drugs, he ran oil, and he ran cigarettes. This guy and his brother want to own every bakery, every butchery, every farm, absolutely everything that the people can subsist on. So basically, people are starting to make a parallel to this guy. The only thing that could elevate him to the status of Milosevic is to potentially start a war. But in everything else domestically, he is even more unhinged than Milosevic himself. Parenti said he was a communist. Yeah, we all make mistakes, and that was Parenti's mistake. That was not a good take, right? So, in Serbia, insane protests erupt. And they start using some tech that most people know about, but most people don't know about, like sonic weapons. Fucking Star Trek shit to basically make your bowels move around and stop your brain from thinking and cause immediate panic attacks, etc., etc. But this student-led movement is not really letting up and is pushing as hard as it can, with a few days ago us being able to see one of the most massive protests I've ever seen in my life. And when it comes to Serbia, the arguably largest protest of all time. They're saying that maybe 1.5 million people were out in the streets. Why this man is now resigning, I don't fucking know.
Used a sonic weapon to disperse protesters at a rally in Belgrade. Footage of the alleged incident has been circulating on social media. Witnesses report hearing a sudden piercing noise, causing crowds to scatter in panic. Opposition groups and activists claim it originated from a sonic weapon. DW is unable to verify those claims. The prohibited device admits a...
So it's a really, to an extent, smart device to use against people during a protest, because it's not like as visceral as a video of a police officer smashing somebody in the head. It's not as visceral as somebody firing rubber bullets or real bullets into the crowd, etc., etc. Even now, when we're seeing it in 4K in front of our eyes, journalists are like, we can't confirm. Nobody can fucking confirm. You're just looking at a crowd that all of a sudden is doing this. Opening up and closing, opening up and closing. It does not lend itself to footage that can say, look, they're doing mass violence on protesters. What kind of a quote-unquote democracy is this or not?
A burst of incredibly loud sound to temporarily incapacitate people. Now, Serbia has been gripped by months of protests, triggered by the collapse of a train station roof in the city of Novi Sad last November, which killed 15 people. Now, Pedro...
These were provided to the Serbian government by Israel.
Oliveira,
of course. Who would create shit like this?
Works on sound studies, and he's done research on the use of so-called sonic weapons, and we can speak to him now. Welcome to DW, Pedro. You've seen the video of the protests in Serbia. Do you think that a long-range acoustic device has been used in this instance?
Hi, good evening. Well, I've seen the video as well as other so-called evidence that has popped up on social media so far, also reports on the ground. And I mean, I cannot say for sure that a long-range acoustic device was used. What I can say for sure is that in some degree, sound is being used as a weapon to cause havoc and panic into this crowd, which in itself...
Also, it might not, there's chances that it's a more advanced version of an LRAD, or maybe not even an LRAD itself. The LRAD is the only thing that we know could do something similar to this. But cases where we've seen it used, it doesn't have a range as big as this.
Regardless of whether or not it is a long-range acoustic device or any other sort of sonic weapon that emits a high-pitched sound or a low-pitched sound or whatever it is in itself cause of concern, for sure.
Tell us a little bit more about how a weapon like this actually works. So you said a high-pitched sound.
Well, there are many uses of so-called sonic weapons, sonic deterrents, and many variations of those. So you can have, for instance, your classic...
So, of course, my Discord channel that I suggest everybody joins does epic journalism-style motherfucking research. I just hope this works on So, of course. No, not this. Wait, let me save, copy link. Wait, give me
It's called a sound bomb, which is a stun grenade that emits just basically a loud bang. You can also have sonic booms, which are caused by airplanes flying, crossing over the sound barrier. That emits actually a low-pitched sound.
Okay, so there's footage of right before. Okay. This is one on one truck. This is what it is, if people want to Google and find out more about it. A 450 XL MMT. It seems to be the same device. Here's another angle. Right here. So this was probably moved in. I just I don't know, my non-scientific brain cannot think that this can cause that much shit. It just doesn't. But we have direct footage and pictures, as you can see, that LRODs were present at the place. But maybe it's a more advanced version. Maybe it's something. I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
But the most common one, or the most used one, the ones that has the most kind of lore into it, is the long-range acoustic device, which is basically a series of highly focused acoustic beams that can emit not only loud sounds to use to kind of direct speech, but also has the so-called warning tone, which is around the range of 2,500 to 3,000 hertz, which is really the threshold of pain, and emits that in a loudness of.
And of course, my chatters are the best chatters in the world. We already have a PDF about the fucking item, man. I love you fuckers so much. Oh, God. Okay, so it's a long-range airborne communications, powerful, intelligible communication over distances, blah, blah, blah. Helicopter-mounted air-to-ground communication system. Well, it's not been used as a communication system, that's for sure. So I guess they sell it primarily as a communication system, but you can rig it to basically make people's fucking lungs crush in on themselves and move their literal intestines around or make their brains go into panic attack mode. The LROD features an adjustable helicopter mount with integrated rechargeable power pack for full LROD positioning and operation inside numerous helicopter models, self-powered and designed to be temporarily mounted and quickly removed following mission completion, so you hide it, but they did not manage to hide it. High-frequency infrasounds can cause brain ruptures. There's a conspiracy of the Calm of the Bun incident. There was infrasound that made them kill each other and themselves. Crazy. Separate charger capable of charging a fully dischargeable battery bank approximately 10 hours. Interesting. Request a demo. I wonder what I'll get if I scan it.
130 up to 160 decibels at close range.
So what happens to people who've been exposed to sonic weapons? I mean, you said pain. Is it very painful? And what else happened? What else do the people feel who've been exposed to this?
The reports are varied. It causes from...
Let's see how Sky News is covering it.
Serbia is in the grips of their biggest ever protest, and authorities are struggling to get a handle on it. Over 500,000 Serbs have flooded the streets to express their dissatisfaction for the Putin-aligned President Vučić.
No, he's not. What the fuck? He's aligned with everything. Do you see how they're trying to make it into a thing? Of course they're trying to make it into a thing. Of course they're trying to make it an East versus West fucking schmuck shit. Ah, God.
Protests have been calm and peaceful, but authorities are still not happy. They've taken the shocking step of allegedly using a military-grade sonic weapon to break up the silent protest.
Too much focus is being given on the LRAD, which, as they should, because, you know, the current Serbian administration is absolutely unhinged. It needs to be changed. It needs to be democratically, blah, 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 you know what I mean? But I want to put more attention on how overwhelming and singular, to an extent, many people from many different ideological camps inside of the Serbian state are against this current government, okay? And these pictures speak for themselves. Over 1.5 million, most likely. Smallest estimates, 800,000. This is insane. There's no sound. I know there's no sound because fucking Guardian. What do you think the trad Nazi right has such a fixation on Serbia? It doesn't seem like a particularly conservative or religious country to me. In Serbia, there's a lot of religiosity, but it's mostly like a cultural aspect of it. Like, oh, we're Orthodox Christians in a way of life. When it comes to the way of life, it is an extremely secular place, mostly left over from Yugoslav thinking. They kind of hyper focus on Serbia because of, you know, its particular positioning during the 90s and because of the right-wing government at the time. But it would be very surprising for a Western right-winger to support the current Serbian administration, to support the protesters against this current Serbian administration, because they are quite literally the result of the most far-right Serbian party during the Yugoslav wars, the Srpska Radikalna Stranka, the Serbian Radical Party, out of which the current president was a direct offshoot out of, and who most likely still holds opinions from back in the day, but he's just rebranded himself as a pro-European centrist. I just want to make the country good. The way you should look at Vučić, in my opinion, is similar to the Saudi Arabian leadership. A lot of coding in religiosity, in patriotism, in national revival. But at the end of the day, it's a mob state ran by a tightly knit, bourgeois superclass, if we want to call it, that has taken complete control of the state and of the private sectors and is utilizing it to make themselves as wealthy as possible, right? That is why I think the parallel is relatively decent with Saudi Arabia, because it's a bunch of local capitalists that have not simply lobbied the government into representing them at the highest echelons of state power, but they themselves have managed to elect themselves into the highest echelons of state power and then pretty much start buying up and taking up everything else. It is kind of a bourgeois coup where they crush all other bourgeois opposition unless they pay them a particular interest rate, a particular additional tax, if you know what I mean, obviously under the table, and in return they can try and operate, right? He seems like a similar figure to Erdogan too. Yeah, very similar to Erdogan. Very, very similar style, approach, etc., etc. Which is more similar to Đukanović, ex-Montenegrin dictator, and Edi Rama, not to Saudi dictatorships. My friend, I'm talking to mostly a Western audience. Do you think they know who Edi Rama is or who Đukanović is? Blat. Brate, what the fuck? I need to give them context that they might understand. Oh, do you know that he's very similar to the ex-Montenegrin president? I agree, he is. But do you know who the ex-Montenegrin president is? No, you do not.
Federal judge in Maryland ruled Tuesday that Elon Musk's unilateral efforts to dismantle
doing education on Twitch about places in the world that people are very much not informed on usually sometimes requires oversimplification. That's why, brother.
The U.S. Agency for International Development are likely unconstitutional in multiple ways. U.S. District Judge Theodore Chuang ordered Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency to reinstate computer and email access to current USAID workers and bars Doge from taking further action. However, it's not clear whether the ruling will have any impact on reopening USAID after the Trump administration effectively shuttered the agency. President Trump blasted Judge.
The best thing the Serbian protesters did is not tie themselves to any current opposition parties, because most of the opposition are the people that came before Vučić, which were to one extent or the other just a different type of fucked up neoliberal fucking hellhole pieces of shit, right? And if they had associated with themselves, they would have gotten nobody, because, like, unironically, even to this day, a very large part of the Serbian population is like, okay, this guy absolutely sucks. But the guys that came before, like, sucked in that type of a different way that I prefer even less than this one, right? But most of the support base for the current Serbian government are just literally millions of people that were granted jobs because they're members of the party, and they will lose jobs if they are ever to be seen protesting against it. So very, very strong interest co-alignment. Who works like this? The mob.
Chuang's ruling and promised an appeal, telling Fox News, quote, "We have..."
Is there any decent left-wing party organization in Serbia? None large enough. None large enough. Not even Socdems, bro. It's that is the unfortunate fate of almost all countries that were the forebearers of communist thought, including Serbs, including Russians, including Bosnians. Nowadays, those particular places have absolutely none, because there was literally billions of dollars invested in absolutely crushing and altering people's opinion on these things right after the Berlin Wall fell, right? That is the what was the thing, the curse of being right too early. The curse of being right too early is that Eastern and Southern Slavs, which led the front quite literally when it comes to not only thinking about but applying socialism in their own countries, that now they have to live in the radical opposite of it. This is what it is.
Rogue judges that are just
similar reason why, like in Central European, Southern European, and even Eastern European states, you will see people that, like, de facto have relatively negative opinion of, for example, people from Africa or Far Asia, etc., because ironically they were never engaged in mass colonial slave rings the way the Brits were, or the French were, or those in Belgium. So because of that, ironically, they never had those people in their country, so that, in the late 21st century, they never interacted with them, so they don't know much about them, and therefore, through ignorance, they can sometimes be bigoted. So basically, the argument I'm making is it is bigotry through ignorance. And why ignorance? Because they never interacted with these people. Why do they never interact with these people? Because they were never a part of, for example, African colonialism, right? Pretty weird. It's as if I'm a materialist or something.
destroying our country, unquote.
Maybe even a dialectical materialist.
President Trump's fired the two Democratic-appointed commissioners on the Federal Trade Commission.
Yeah, you see on my birthday. What the fuck? The good Lenin? Happy birthday, my dear beautiful motherfucker. Thank you very much for everything you've done for the community.
In a direct challenge to a 90-year-old Supreme Court ruling protecting
Poles did help slaves in the revolt. Yes, Serbia was the first state in history that in its constitution put that if a slave escapes and comes to Serbia, they will be protected by the constitution because it does not believe in slavery. Because Serbs had just liberated themselves from their own form of slavery under the Ottoman yoke, under the Ottoman Empire, right? These are just like any other part in the world. It's more complicated than just memes about this particular country that you see on fucking Twitter, right?
Independent government aid.
You know, like fucking Croats didn't wake up one morning and are like, I fucking hate Koreans. No, that's how it works.
Agencies. Trump's order terminating Alvaro Bedoya and Rebecca Kelly Slaughter leaves the FTC with just 2 Republican-appointed commissioners, short of the 3 needed to form a quorum to perform many of the agency's functions. In a statement, Alvaro Bedoya said, quote, "The FTC is an independent agency founded 111 years ago to fight fraudsters and monopolists. Our staff is Apple registered. Law shareholders to act protections from..."
Okay, America protections. Yeah, you guys are failing. Let's watch something actually interesting. That is... Where is it? Every major Nazi group explained by a German and then corrected and better explained by an Eastern European. Ha 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 ha! Welcome to Skull Measuring Hour with Yugopnik. And by skull measuring, I mean we will measure the skulls of the skull measurers. AKA, we will look at all these different types of Nazis and try to rate them on the basis of just how degenerate and insane they are. The highest point you can reach is 0, because if you're a Nazi or a fascist, you are de facto 0 out of 10 when it comes to how human you are, respectfully. But it can always go lower.
The Order, aka the Silent Brotherhood, was a neo-Nazi terrorist group active in the US in the early 1980s. Inspired by the novel The Turner Diaries, they aim to overthrow the government and carry out a white supremacist revolution by eliminating non-whites. The group funded itself through armed robberies, and it was responsible for the
And mods, if we can semi-adjust the title, that would be sick as fuck.
1984 murder of radio host Alan Berg. In
Yeah.
December 1984, leader Robert J. Matthews was tracked to a house on Whidbey Island where he died in a fire after a shootout with the
These are, okay, so The Order. The Order is a hyper practical white supremacist movement in the United States. They did not hyper-focus on racial purity. They let in, like, fucking Spanish people into their movement, etc., etc. So when it comes to whiteness, like, they didn't write exactly like a complex skull-measuring theory. They're like, I look at you, like, you know, the Family Guy meme when he looks at the different skin tones. So The Order was like, I guess white, right? Wait, you're not Mexican, some shit, right? Okay, you're one of us. So that was their racial categorization. They were all about practicality. Robbing fucking banks, getting fucking money, getting big guns, and assassinating political figures, Jewish figures, civil rights figures, etc., and hopefully doing so much assassination and even terrorism that they thought that the system could collapse in itself. Biggest mistake these guys made, they didn't build a big enough army before they wanted to pull this off. The FBI realized what they're doing, and while the FBI loves right-wingers, it doesn't really love right-wingers that really literally want to destroy the federal government, so they, to an extent, did something about it. That's basically The Order. Why do I know so much about very niche far-right organizations? Because that's kind of, to an extent, my expertise.
FBI. Many members were later convicted for racketeering, and the order fell apart. The National Socialist Underground was a German neo-Nazi terror.
What is this?
Dad, this here's my new neighbor.
He's Japanese. No, he ain't. He's Laotian. Ain't you, Mr. Khan?
Hakim. But not in a racist way. But that was Hakim. That's Hakim. Hakim will literally come up to you. Sri Lankan from the deep south. Literally. And then he would say, based, I like you. But he will guess the most intricate niches of your ethnicity. That's why I fuck with him. Like in the past life, you were a Gestapo officer or something.
Cell active from 2001 to 2010. Led by Uwe Mundlos, Uwe Böhnhardt and Beate Zschäpe, the group operated in hiding with the help Uwe Böhnhardt and Beate
Ubermenschen. Look at my Ubermenschen. We're so fucked, man. We're so fucked. And two Uwes. Man, if you're called Uwe, like your mother really didn't care much for you. And we have two leading the movement.
Zschäpe, the group operated in hiding with the help of over 100 supporters who provided weapons and funds. They were responsible for several murders targeting immigrants, the killing of a policewoman, multiple bombings and 14 bank robberies. In 2011, after a failed robbery, Mundlos and Böhnhardt were found dead in a burned-out motorhome, allegedly a murder-suicide. The same day, their hideout in Zwickau exploded, with Zschäpe suspected of setting the fire before later turning herself in. The NSU's crimes were the deadliest attacks in Germany since the Red Army faction era. The Aryan Brotherhood is a neo-Nazi
We don't talk about those guys. No, these guys were basically, the previous guys were basically a gang that also had like an ideological belief system, and they needed to lie to themselves about why what they're doing is justified, and they underpinned that by, the Third Reich was betrayed. This is not our Germany, therefore, shooting people in today's Germany is acceptable because it's a traitor country. You know what I love? Nazis, especially volatile, combustible ones, exactly. I mean, the best type of Nazi is...
in Germany since the Red Army faction era. The Aryan Brotherhood is a neo-Nazi prison gang and...
So, I love the Aryan Brotherhood. Do not clip that, because it is the kings of fail sons, okay? The Aryan Brotherhood are the kings of fail sons. So you're telling me that one of the largest white supremacist groupings in the United States are all in prison? That they're all in prison? They all got caught and arrested, and they're like, I have nothing else to live for, so now I'm going to obsess over my race while I'm in prison. Like, the largest white supremacist group in the United States all got caught, like, selling meth. I'm sorry, but if you want any proof of the fact that these guys are not supreme, this is it, brother. I don't know what else you need.
And organized crime syndicate in the US with an estimated 20,000 members in splinter groups like the Aryan Circle.
Yeah, and very often they will like leave jail and they will realize how much of a massive fail son they are out of jail. So they'll just like intentionally get arrested so they can go back to jail and feel like big burly white men inside of the prison system. my like the what was it? The Aryan Brotherhood, when they see a woman, please take me back to jail.
Founded in 1964 at California's San Quentin State Prison in response to the militant black guerrilla family, the Brotherhood was formed by white inmates seeking to protect themselves. The gang grew rapidly, enforcing a strict blood-in, blood-out rule, meaning initiation often involved murder, and leaving the gang was nearly impossible.
So like ultra, like even in their ideology, they're ultra fail sons. They're like, okay, isn't the whole point we can, for example, get people into the prison system. We can indoctrinate them, they can get out, and then they can start organizing on the outside, supporting those of us who will never be able to leave the prison system, but eventually being powerful enough on the outside to start forming an actual movement. They're like, no, when you join, you gotta like kill a motherfucker, probably get caught so that your sentence becomes a life sentence, and you will always have to be a part of our little cute little clique. It's like fail son in ideology to an it's literally like first point of Aryan Brotherhood theory. Never leave jail.
possible without deadly consequences. Known as the oldest and most notorious racist prison gang in the US, the Aryan Brotherhood has a reputation for controlling prison violence, drug trade, and other activities like extortion, prostitution, and murder for hire. Though it comprises a small portion of the prison population, it is responsible for a disproportionate number of murders. The group operates in a hierarchical structure led by a 12-man council and a 3-man commission. Members use symbols like
Very, very fancy organization for guys stuck in cells, bro. Man, you're so powerful. You made what, like $300 this month from selling very low quality meth to your fellow Aryans? How does it, what?
Shamrocks, swastikas, and SS signs to identify themselves, and new recruits are often expected to commit murder to gain acceptance. The Atomwaffen Division, aka National
Okay, just literally fucking insane people, okay? These are just insane people. They're like, we understand that the Nazi movement, has to an extent failed, so we can restart an Aryan future by starting the nuclear holocaust, but being preppers and surviving the nuclear holocaust. And then when we get out, we're just going to be like pure Aryans and we're going to be like super chill and shit. Like, literally the dumbest people on earth. Literally the dumbest fucking people on earth.
Socialist Resistance Front is a neo-Nazi terrorist
death cult, yeah, literally.
network founded in 2013 by Brandon Russell.
They no longer exist.
In the
Look at this Ubermensch specimen right here. Holy shit.
US, the group
I give him 3 inches tops.
quickly expanded internationally to
I'm gonna lie, they would make very good villains in a post-apocalyptic game. That's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. Like a Nazi section that survives the nuclear apocalypse and that is like very well armed, very well trained. They did like education for generations and generations, and 300 years later they come out to witness their new Lebensraum. That is that would be really good fucking writing. It would be really, really, really good fucking writing. Follow your leaders, motherfuckers. Remember that, you absolutely. That's why all Nazis are a death cult. Because it doesn't... It's a death cult because it doesn't work in the long term as well. Just for practical reasons. That's why Nazis are so outdated and why other fascists are far more dangerous.
Countries like the UK, Canada, Germany, Brazil, and Argentina forming offshoots like the Feuerkrieg and
Argentina be like, we're white! Bro, we're really white!
and Sonnenkrieg divisions. Known for extreme violence, the Atomwaffen Division advocated for guerrilla warfare to overthrow governments and create a white ethno-state. Its ideology combined neo-Nazism, esotericism, and accelerationism, using terrorism to destabilize societies and incite revolution. Members of the group idolized figures like Adolf Hitler or Osama bin Laden and engaged in violent acts against racial minorities. They were linked to at least 8 murders in the US since 2017, as well as...
Yeah, and also complete fail sons. They mostly got arrested, mostly like did a little bit of infighting, and their holy shit, we're going to destabilize the whole world ideology peaked at 8 murders, right? Out of which I genuinely think the majority ended up being white people.
Cases of assault, bomb plots, kidnapping, and torture. Their activities included burning US flags and plotting to destroy power grids and water systems. Atomwaffen's offshoots like the Sonnenkrieg division in the UK carried out similar acts, including mass murder plans, plotting the assassination of Prince Harry, whom they called a race traitor, and bombings. Despite claiming to disband in 2020, the group
Hey, I'm a big Nazi guy, and I watch a lot of reality TV. So I'm like, why is the Prince guy having sex with a colored girl?
branded under names like the National Socialist Order,
Cracker Al-Qaeda, bro.
Continued recruiting globally and allied with groups like the Satanic Order of Nine Angles. It's banned as a terrorist organization in several countries. The Aryan nations were once the ideological backbone of US neo-Nazism. Founded in the 70s by Richard Gerndt Butler in Idaho, they merged Nazi ideology with Christian identity beliefs. They believed white Aryans are God's chosen people while portraying Jews.
So these guys have influence to this day. These guys were the, one could argue, original coiners of the idea that we can't really speak about race in the open. It's relatively, they did because they were fucking idiots. But smart ethnocentric fascists, let's call them that, even to this day, and we can really see that as a strong underpinning of the Trump administration, right? Stop talking about race, and if all of you noticed, started talking about being Christian. Another being Christian. Thank you, Argonian Bum. Everybody go check out Argonian Bum. Thank you very, very much for the raid. I hope you got a lovely stream. Thank you, Argonian Bum. We all love Argonians here.
As the offspring of the devil, and non-whites
Welcome Raiders, welcome Raiders.
as subhuman. Butler famously called his Hayden Lake compound the international headquarters of the white race. And throughout the 1980s and...
Of course, American exceptionalism seeping in even into the American Nazi movement. Meanwhile, probably like European Nazi holdouts were like, those fucking... And now I can't, any word would be a slur, but those fucking, and then slur that applies to mixed race people, they think they're one of us. What the fuck?
90s, the group hosted large gatherings.
But these had influence. Like when you look at Project 2025, they unironically talk about how the main kind of unifying, let's call it, category of the type of people that we as Republicans need to fight for is Christians, right?
Of neo-Nazis, KKK members, and racist skinheads. The group was heavily involved in domestic terrorism, promoting race war rhetoric and associating with violent extremists. Notably, in 1998...
They also notably never agreed on one specific flag. Like, do we put the swastika on the thing or we don't put the swastika on the thing? What are we doing? Pick a flag, blядь.
Aryan nation's security guards mistook a Native American family's car backfire for gunfire, shot at the vehicle, and then brutally beat the victims. This led to a $6 million lawsuit that bankrupted the group and forced the sale of their compound.
I'm Hitler's top guy. What am I gonna do? Adolf Hitler chose me to lead the revolution.
I guess I'm gonna file for bankruptcy and sell my base, bro. Oh, man. Oh, you guys are such fucking idiots.
Aryan nations also had ties to acts of terrorism, including Buffer O'Furrow's 1999 shooting spree at a Jewish community center and another member's failed attempt to start a race war in 2004 with a Molotov cocktail attack on a synagogue.
Hey, son, are you winning? No, Dad, I'm trying to start a race war. Hey, I'm going to start a race war by Molotoving a synagogue. That's how the world works, doesn't it? Obviously, I'm not laughing at Molotoving a synagogue. Fuck that. That's super fucked up, of course. But, like, thinking that this is going to start a race. How self-important are these motherfuckers? How self-important are these motherfuckers? Thank you, Comrade Crip, for the 9 months. Is it true fascists love Twitch ads? They absolutely do. So be like Comrade Crip and do not watch any ads. Become a subscriber, which directly makes you an anti-advertising guy, which directly makes you, to an extent, an anti-fascist, because ads are indeed fascist. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Declining after Butler's death in 2004.
Where's swastika? Kill religious brown people? 3, I don't know. 4, profit? 4, bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, literally. What profit?
the group splintered into factions, with Sadistic Souls being one of the last remnants.
Thank you, WonderGal96. Thank you very, very, very much for the 5 gifties. I believe that makes us 5 gifties away from another dono. And wait, how does one... Okay, Argonian Bum, you've raided me so many times. The least I can do is give you a sub. We love our comrades here and give you... I mean, you are a fellow streamer, so... I gotta VIP you too, you know. I gotta VIP you. I'm a thankful chap, as they say.
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
There we go. Thank you very much, Argonian, and thank you very, very much, Wonder Gal. You truly are a wondrous gal. Oh my God, that was disgusting. I apologize.
Combat 18 is a neo-Nazi...
Lightly used Nazi compound with ample space for building a militia and starting a race. Oh wait, there's a lot of Americans who would jump on that real estate ad. Joel, you fucking motherfucker.
The terrorist organization founded in 1992 in the UK.
Oh, I don't know these guys. Wait, no, I do know these guys. There's no way. I know every single Nazi group. Wait, Combat 18. Let me just see their pictures. Oh no! Of course, this is Combat 8. These guys actually spread into the Balkans as well. These guys spread into the Balkans. Yeah, I know these fucking guys. Yeah. These guys were just they did violence, obviously, on minorities and shit. But this was just like, we like listening to punk music where they say the N-word a lot.
UK, later expanding to Canada, France, the US, and Germany. Originally created as a stewarding group for the British National Party to protect events from anti-fascists, it quickly became devoted to violence and rejected electoral politics entirely. The 18 in...
They led to the BNP, and some of the key members of the BNP led to Pegida. And one of the most famous BNP and Pegida people that are still extremely relevant was the leader of the race riots from in the later part of 2024, if you remember. So they might be failed sons, but at least they created a super soldier that was literally platformed by our boy Jordan Peterson. But what was his name? I can't remember his name. British. Come on, what was Tommy Robinson? Okay, Tommy Robinson is an indirect offshoot of these guys. Tommy Robinson hyper focuses on Le Muslims bad. That's his whole shtick. Le Muslims very bad.
Its name stands for the initials of Adolf Hitler. The group has been linked to numerous murders of immigrants, minorities, dissidents, and even internal...
Which is not even his real name, yeah. The EDL is an offshoot of the BNP, which is an offshoot of Pediga, I forgot it. They're very bad with names.
Power struggles. Most notably, members were suspected in the assassination of German politician Walter Lübcke. Affiliated with Blood and Honor, Combat 18 is on the Canada...
Yeah, that's why. I know them for fucking Blood and Honor. Yeah. Blood and Honor also, like, ooh, we love punk music where they say the N-word.
Terrorism list and banned in Germany. The Wotan Jugend is a hardcore militant neo-Nazi network that operates primarily online, spreading propaganda with Nazi symbols like Wotan runes and the Black...
Thank you, Canola Oil. Thank you very much for the 12-month streak.
Sun. Originally founded in Russia in 2008 by members of a neo-Nazi band, the group later moved to Ukraine, where it became linked to the far-right Azov movement.
And not only, now they are the main guys that lead the Free Russia movement, the ethnically Russian people that would go into Russian territory and then shoot a bunch of people, basically. So yeah.
Ideology blends white supremacism and esoteric...
Which is very strange. Like, you're supporting a group that literally considers you subhuman. Like, the standard Azov battalion, like, ideological line on race is that Ukrainians are where the border between Europe and the Asiatic hordes begins, and Russians are too mixed blood to ever be fixed. That's why Ukraine must be defended as like a border area from the evil Eastern hordes. But then you go and join these people that think you're an evil Eastern horde. I don't know.
Nazism, including the deification of Adolf Hitler. The name combines Wotan, the old Germanic god, with Jugend, the German word for youth, inspired by the Hitler Youth. Many of its members opposed Putin and supported Ukraine's 2014 protests. With the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war, some joined the Azov Battalion. The group has an international reach, with cells found in places like Prague, and has praised far-right terrorists like Breivik, McVeigh, and the Christchurch shooter. The Wotan Jugend also engages in racial theory lectures, firearms training, and knife fight tournaments. In 2018, its leader Alexei Levkin met with members of the violent American neo-Nazi gang Rise Above movement. Blood and Honor is a neo-Nazi music promotion network and extremist political...
There you go, Blood Honor. You see, man, I know fucking everything. Dude, I am...
I'm Hitler's top guy.
I know more about Nazi movements than anybody else. There you go. I told you Blood and Honor. That was linked to these guys. These guys were an offshoot of... Combat 18 was an offshoot of Blood and Honor, which basically recruited people through not non-punk music that was just highly, highly racialized, which is very not based. The same way that ads are very not based, the way the top of the hour ad break is going to be very not based in what it plays in exactly 1 minute. So be based. Don't watch debased ads. Become a sub for $6 a month, free through Prime, and support our anti-fascist digital action. Or oil me up, and for every ounce of mixed race oil, I will send 5. For every 10 barrels of mixed race oil, I will send 5 barrels of mixed race oil right back at you.
Group founded in the UK by Ian Stewart Donaldson in 1987 with
yes, Russians, famous white Aryans, exactly.
divisions in the US and Australia. Blood and Honor became infamous for organizing white power music events that often led to violent clashes. One notorious incident was the 1992 Battle of Waterloo in London, where they fought anti-fascist protesters for 2 hours, leading to multiple stabbings. The group has been banned in multiple countries, including Germany, Spain, and Russia, while labeled a terrorist organization in Canada. The Hammerskins, founded in Dallas, Texas in 1988.
This is just like a small skinhead sub-faction, wildly irrelevant, and mostly a gang. They moved heroin and shit.
Are one of the oldest and most violent neo-Nazi skinhead groups in the US.
Yeah, but this is a gang, okay? This is a gang that moves crack and heroin and wants to be, like, I don't fucking know, ideologically motivated.
Known for their connection to the white power music scene and anti-Asian and anti-Muslim rhetoric, they have expanded internationally to Canada, Germany, Australia, and other countries. Despite claiming to be leaderless, they actively recruit members and encourage them to join the military to gain combat experience for an anticipated race war. The group hosts events like Hammer...
Yeah, an easy way to get people into your fucking drug dealer organization. It's very, very classic.
Fest to celebrate...
In a very similar way, like they go to all over Eastern Europe, they go to different... highly patriotic ultras, like football hooligans, and they tell them that, oh, we're really doing this to, preserve the way our people want to live, etc., etc. But also, can you, stand at the corner and fucking sell dope for me, please? And I'll take 50% of the profit. And, the so-called revolution was never going to happen. We just, use ideological tools to manipulate very, very stupid people into joining our thing. It's a gang, bro.
their ideology and fallen members, but their real legacy is in
They also stole the symbol from Pink Floyd. Yeah, talk about not knowing what you're using.
violence. Hammerskin members have been involved in assaults, harassment, and even mass shootings. Most infamously, the 2012 Sikh temple attack in Wisconsin, where Wade Michael Page, a Hammerskin member, killed 7 people.
There you go. Says, but some of their members sometimes go overboard. And I'm sure that the administrative section of the group is like, what the fuck? We just want to sell crack. Thank you, Star Platinum, with the sub with Prime. Thank you very much for joining the community, my friend. And thank you, Joel, for another gifty. Joel has been on a roll today.
The Base is a neo-Nazi accelerationist paramilitary group formed in 2018 by American Ronaldo Nazaro with...
Here now we're moving into classic American... we're going to be like the Minutemen, but like hella racist, bro. That's it.
ties to Atomwaffen Division. Active in the US, Canada, Australia, South...
Let's go to the woods and drink beer and talk about how we really hate that our wife cheated us with Abdul type shit. Like...
South Africa and Europe, the group has been designated as a terrorist organization in several countries. The base is fiercely anti-Semitic and dedicated to preparing its members for violent resistance against the government. Its members are trained in survivalism and paramilitary skills with the goal of inciting a race war.
They usually are very, very decently trained because they hire straight out of the military. And very often they're decently funded because most members are like middle class and so on, and they put in half of their money into the organization, which makes their wives divorce them because they become broke, which then radicalizes them more in turn, which then moves them further and deeper into the forest where they basically do airsoft, but with real guns. That's it. But they could be, these guys, for example, are trained, so they should be taken seriously because they can actually be utilized by a more organized group that would subsume them and then utilize them to better train their own base, their own militant faction. There's a genuine split over religion in the European far right. The pagan Nazi group like Azov and C18 reject Christianity because it's a Judaic religion versus Christo-fascists, which are strong in Russia like RAM. Dude, I'm scrolling TikTok literally this morning, and I see a live, and on the live, it's basically like a Discord chat, and somebody's streaming a Discord chat. And every single guy, like there's 20 people in the Discord chat, and they all have like different white supremacist, Nazi adjacent, and so on profile pictures. So I'm like, oh man, this is going to be fucking fantastic. And the live was just starting as I get in. And the first guy speaks about his perspective, and then the second guy needs to speak. And the second guy has a little Belarusian flag next to his name, and he starts speaking, and he says 10 sentences. And the main host of the Discord thing immediately stops him, and he says, "Are you Belarusian?" And the guy says, "Yes." And he's like, "I'm Lithuanian. Belarus is not a country. It should be cleansed and brought back to the proud Lithuanian people because that is our territory. You can have Western Ukraine." And then a Ukrainian in chat literally goes like, "What the fuck are you talking about? The Belarusians get to have Western Ukraine." And it just turns into a whole fucking shit fest. And I'm there like, what the fuck? This is free entertainment. I was almost going to send them $10. I was like, thank you. Thank you for proving my point. Also, I was stirred up shit because I just spammed in comments, Lithuanians aren't white. Lithuanians aren't white. Just to see where it goes. I got banned immediately. I fucked up. I should have stayed there. It was fucking... beautiful 101 explanation on why this is not only a debased, evil, and unscientific way of perceiving the world and organizing a society, but it is also incredibly impractical. Unitas mundi.
Society needs to collapse for a white
Species traders is what they should be referred to as.
ethno-state to emerge from the ruins. Unlike groups that seek mass appeal, the base operates through...
I'm Lithuanian, we don't claim that guy. No, of course, man. I'm not generalizing, but you get my point.
small terroristic cells recruiting.
Neither do the Belarusians claim that guy nor the Ukrainians, as they shouldn't, you know. But I'm just talking about the ideology. Fuck what ethnicity they are. It's mwah.
Committed extremists who act on their violent ideologies. They use a strict vetting process to ensure recruits are ready for violence, organizing hate camps for training. Recently, members of the base in Georgia were charged with conspiracy for plotting to murder an anti-fascist couple. The National Socialist Movement is a neo-Nazi organization and political party in the US, founded in 1974 in St. Paul, Minnesota.
It's the guys with the shields. You all know the guys with the shields. They appear in many protests. They were even marching around during Christchurch. No, not Christchurch. That was in New Zealand. I apologize. The city where they all got together and screamed, "They will not replace us." Jesus, help me out here. Brain slow.
A new child soldier, subscriber.
Unite the Right rally, exactly. In Virginia, exactly. Thank you, Theoretical Hair. My only regret is that it wasn't 5. It's okay. There will be many to come. Thank you very much for your support. Charlottesville. Yeah, Charlottesville. Christchurch, Charlottesville. I confused them.
By Robert Brennan and Clifford Harrington. Once the most prominent neo-Nazi group in the country, its
Not Patriot Front, those are all cops. Yes, that is a correct assessment.
influence has dwindled in recent years, though it remains classified as a hate group. The NSM seeks to transform the US into a white ethno-state, barring Jews, non-whites and LGBTQ individuals from citizenship. Members openly celebrate Hitler's birthday, and the group has been linked to violent rallies, riots and crimes. In 2016, they organized a Sacramento rally together with the Traditionalist Worker Party.
Remember those fail sons, the Traditional Workers' Party? What did the guy kill himself, or no? He went to jail. A member of the Traditionalist Workers' Party was the one that killed that woman during Charlottesville.
This turned into a bloody riot, and in 2017 they participated in
Or did he start the "why I left the right" thing? I'm not sure.
infamous Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where a
There you go. I know every.
counter-protester was murdered in a car ramming attack. Since
One of them is an ACP orbiter now. That's fucking what the fuck.
2019, the group has been led by Bert Colucci, who in 2022...
An Italian? You're telling me one of them goddamn Italian Arabs think he's white? God fucking damn it. What is our beautiful white fucking movement come down to, brothers?
was arrested for attacking a Jewish man during a rally. The Nordic Resistance Movement is the largest neo-Nazi group in Sweden, with branches in Norway.
These are the guys that went... or am I confusing them? They were one of the guys that would rent out boats and try to basically boat around in the south of Italy trying to stop immigrant boats. They have offshoots in other countries, bikers, that type of shit. Not them. These two, I think.
Norway, Denmark, Iceland, and
There was ones with a brown flag. They were.
And formerly Finland, where it was banned in 2020. It operates both as a movement and a political party in Sweden, though it's...
That was Generation Identity or something. But a lot of Generation Identity are offshoots of Nordic Resistance. Yeah, Generation Identity actually had some logistical planning to it. Thank you, Figgy. Good correction. But a lot of Generation Europa and Identity Europa, Generation Europa is the youth movement, I think, of the thing, which is, okay, you have 5 members. Came from Nordic
reputation
Resistance.
comes from its violent, anti-democratic activity.
I respect that the Nordic Resistance movement actually knows the lore, actually understands Nazi lore, and understands that it is the Nordic race, not the Aryan race, which is what the Nazis believed were the purest and closest to the ancient Aryan civilization people that are still currently alive and live in Scandinavian countries and in Germany, etc., right?
The group.
So proper naming, okay? Proper naming. They studied up on their IRL D&D, okay?
Openly advocates for a pan-Nordic neo-Nazi state, even suggesting the inclusion of the Baltic countries, and claims bloodshed will be necessary to achieve its goals. The movement is classified as a terrorist organization due to its paramilitary training, weapons stockpiling and violent attacks. Members have carried out bombings on refugee camps in Göteborg, Sweden, and physically attacked political opponents and journalists. They regularly distribute propaganda, glorify Adolf Hitler and Corneliu Codreanu, and denounce immigration in their public speeches. The Nazi lowriders are a neo-
Oh, finally something I don't know about.
I'm Hitler's top guy.
And I love lowriders.
I'm Hitler's top guy. What am I gonna do?
I'm gonna buy a lowrider. Okay, first time. I gotta admit, first time. Nazi low. This is so niche, incredibly niche.
Nazi organized crime syndicate and prison gang mainly
Nazi
operating
Chicanos.
in Southern California. Formed in the 1970s within the California Youth Authority, the gang was created.
I've been waiting to learn about these guys. Nah, y'all, they had a Nazi rally in Mexico.
By the Aryan Brotherhood to serve as middlemen for their criminal operations. By the 1980s, Aryan Brotherhood leader John Stinson was actively recruiting young skinheads in juvenile detention centers, laying the groundwork for the NLR to become a major force.
So what, the NLR was like, okay, we don't want to go back to prison like the Aryan Brotherhood losers. We just want to be racist and drive around in our cars, bro.
Lowrider members are required to be at least half Caucasian, and their ideology centers on extreme racial hatred, particularly toward black people.
Woke Nazis? If you're 50%, it's okay, bro. No, it's okay. Hyper-realistic American Nazis, understanding that most Americans that have been in America for more than 5 generations are mixed as fuck. I never thought I would be surprised. But color me surprised. Color.
Over time, the NLR grew into its own powerhouse, surpassing the Aryan Brotherhood in prominence within California's prison system. Their rapid...
Yeah, of course they're going to have more members because they're like, yo, if you're like hot Mexican or shit, like, that's chill, bro. Of course. I mean, they have a bigger pool of people to choose from because
expansion ties to other white supremacist groups like Public Enemy Number 1, the Ku Klux Klan, and outlaw gangs like the Hells Angels and Mongols solidified their influence. Known for extreme violence, the gang engages in narcotics trade and is responsible.
Bro, I shit you not, there is a interview out there in an LA prison where he interviews a couple of Jewish trans women and a former Nazi lowrider who was cheating on his wife. My God. These guys really can't pick a team, can they?
For numerous assaults and attempted murders. Today,
you don't have to be white to hate non-white people. Join us. Woke Nazis, bro. No, dude, why did I miss on the joke? DEI Nazis. Why did it take me 6 hours? Why did it take me 6 hours? Nazi lowriders. DEI Nazis.
The Nazi lowriders remains one of the fastest growing and most dangerous white prison gangs in California. The Russian National Unity was a neo-Nazi and ultra-nationalist group founded in 1990
These fucking idiots.
by former army commando Alexander Bakashov, advocating for a racially pure Russia through the expulsion of Jews.
You can find pictures of the West's favorite anti-Putin darling, who died in prison recently at the Russian different Russian National Unity rallies.
Armenians, Georgians, Azeris, and Central Asians. Despite openly using Nazi symbolism,
We was white and shit. Oh, a swastika, but make it extra Slav, bro. Slavic Nazis, my favorite animal, because they were considered animals by Nazis. It never gets old.
Calling himself a National Socialist and celebrating the rise of Nazi Germany, Bakashov denied support.
The Nazis, they killed literally tens of millions of my people. That's who I want to be when I grow up.
Supporting Nazi ideology. The RNE had 25,000 members and operated in Russian-speaking regions beyond Russia itself. The group was notorious for racist violence, including the desecration of Jewish and Muslim graves, physical assaults and murder. Banned in Moscow in 1999, internal conflicts led to the group's decline by the year 2000. The Golden Dawn was a neo-Nazi criminal...
Oh, my Greeks! We was Socrates and shit. we was the original Western civilization and shit. Yeah, basically they build their premise on all of West civilization coming from Greece. Therefore, Greeks are not the reason that Greeks managed to develop such sophisticated philosophy, which would in 99% of the time disagree with their belief system or whatever. But the reason they managed to develop it is because they were ethnically superior, right? That's the original Golden Dawn pitch. Speaking of pitches, there's an ad in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. If you love being educated on the worst subhumans, Nazis to ever exist, do consider supporting this anti-real subhumans show for $6 a month for free through Prime, or by gifting to those less privileged than you. And for every 5 gifts, I will gift. For every 10 gifts, I will gift 5 of my own. Thank you very much. Ad plays in 3 minutes.
Criminal organization and former political party in...
And of course, the statues can't be fascist without shallow aesthetic power fantasies, of course. And don't let them see the original aesthetic of the statues before the color washed off.
In Greece, that gained prominence during the 2009 financial crisis, becoming the 3rd most popular party by 2015.
Why do the half Italian, half Turks think they're part of the team? Same like with the Slavs previously. Same with the lowriders, bro. Chicano Nazis, man.
Its founder, Nikolaos Michalolaikos, declared himself the party's Führer and pushed for a return to...
They arrested him rightfully, but then they let him go recently.
...military dictatorship.
I don't know what happened to him afterwards.
Openly admiring Hitler and denying the Holocaust. The group's ideology combined neo-Nazism, ultranationalism and irredentism, advocating for a greater Greece while opposing the EU, immigrants and minorities. Golden Dawn heavily borrowed from Nazi symbolism, using...
It's like, imagine if an Iraqi joined the U.S. military and is flying around with a drone, killing and bombing other brown people. Yeah.
Similar salutes, slow...
Ironically, though, you would still do more. Be less of a fail-son like that than these guys.
Slogans and aesthetics.
Even the Nazis stopped being white. Now white people are just boring-ass neoliberals, which to an extent are more dangerous. The point.
And its militant wing carried out vigilante attacks, hate crimes and assassinations. In 2013, its vigilante attacks, hate...
The greatest Greek Aryan super soldier. And keep in mind, he is posing for a picture here. He is posing for a picture with a firearm here. This is how my guy... Look at this and listen to this.
I'm Hitler's top guy. What am I gonna do? Adolf Hitler chose me to lead the revolution.
If Alexander the Great tells you you're his top guy, you're his top guy.
He holds it wrong as well. Ufigi, that was the point. Jesus. Ufigi... That was the point. That was the joke, my friend.
Crimes and assassinations. In 2013, its members murdered a Pakistani immigrant and an anti-fascist activist. A massive criminal trial, often called the biggest Nazi trial since...
If Alexander the Great tells you that you're his top guy, please see a psychiatrist.
Nuremberg concluded in 2020 with the party's leadership convicted of running a criminal organization. The Afrikaner Resistance Movement is a neo-Nazi white supremacist political organization in South Africa, founded in 1973 by Eugene.
Basically, they were like, apartheid not enough. Because they are now filing for the destruction of the apartheid, we must fully push this to its conclusion, and that is the full extermination or expulsion of who we deem as non-white in South Africa. That's their premise, pretty much.
Terre Blanche. Advocating for an independent Boer Afrikaner Republic, the AWB believed apartheid South Africa was too liberal and sought to re-establish the old Boer republics. The group embraced extreme anti-Semitism, calling for the extermination of South Africa's Jewish population. During the transition to democracy in the 1990s, AWB members committed terror acts against black South Africans in a desperate bid to halt the end of the apartheid. After Terre Blanche was murdered in 2010 by a farm worker, Stein von Rönge took over leadership. Murdered in 2010 by a farm worker, Stein von Rönge took over leadership. Was murdered in 2010 by a farm worker, Stein von Rönge took over leadership.
I don't know what's happening. That sound played by itself. I don't know.
Though the group has faded, it still exists, maintaining a few thousand members and attempting to recruit more. The White Aryan Resistance was a white supremacist and neo-Nazi organization in the US, founded and led by former Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragon Tom Metzger. Based in Indiana, WAR functioned as a movement and business, even expanding into Canada in 1993. The group openly embraced racism, using the slogan, "Let them hate as long as they fear," a quote from the Roman Emperor Caligula. Metzger actively recruited racist skinheads in the 80s, calling the US government the #1 enemy of the white race and advocating for the cleansing of non-whites. WAR gained national attention when 3 group members murdered an Ethiopian student in 1988. A civil lawsuit held Metzger and WAR responsible, effectively dismantling the organization. However, the name White Aryan Resistance still appears among racist prison gangs in the western US and Arkansas. The National Alliance was a neo-Nazi political organization founded in 1974 by William Luther Pierce and based in Mill Point, West Virginia. At its peak in 2002, it had around 2,000.
Tom Metzger is basically what Hitler would look like if he was a pimp.
1,500 members and an annual income of $1 million, but after Pierce's death that same year, the group splintered in 2005 and largely collapsed. In 2016, Thomas Mayer, an alleged member of the National Alliance, murdered British Labour politician Helen Cox. The Yugopnik Group is a Russian far-right neo-Nazi paramilitary unit fighting.
Arguably the most schizophrenic group in the entire page, because so they are very well armed and they actually do go and fight, etc., etc. But they're like we want to go to Ukraine to kill Nazis, but also we love Nazis, but Nazis that don't consider us subhuman. Please, Daddy, believe I'm not subhuman. I'm going to kill the other guys that think that I am subhuman, but I also believe that other people are subhuman, but not me. Trust me, not me. It's literal schizos, bro.
In the Russia-Ukrainian war. Founded in 2009 by self-proclaimed Nazi Alexei.
And mostly came from ultras groups and football hooligans, etc., etc. Very lobotomite type of situation.
Isakov from St. Petersburg. The group operates within the Wagner Group, which has also tolerated neo-Nazi elements. Wagner's own founder, Dmitry Utkin, sported SS tattoos. Yugopnik has been active in the Donbas War since 2014, specializing in reconnaissance and sabotage. In 2017, its militants were photographed in Palmyra, Syria, giving Nazi salutes. Yugopnik's Telegram channel is filled with racist, anti-Ukrainian and anti-Western rhetoric, boasting about atrocities and promoting Russian racial superiority. The Azov Brigade originally...
Yeah, but but still, Russian racial superiority, but still, you're basing the platform that you're basing the majority of your thought is a German Nazi ideology. So how superior are you if you need to learn from your German big brother that you also, to an extent, lift up, but not when it's also supported, but not in the part of Nazi ideology that considers Russians subhuman. This is like that like all the non-Western groups from this list, just like schizophrenia, like lobotomites. Like don't try and find even an inkling of rationale that allows them to kind of squeeze in static and classic Nazi racial thought.
Originally formed as the Azov Battalion in May 2014, started as a self-funded volunteer militia under Andrei Bieletsky to fight Russia.
Dog, I see that symbol being in many leftist TikToks, AKL Nazbol. Not sure, but like obviously the Russisch guys bastardized this. This is a bastardization of an ancient pagan and Slavic symbol, and not only Slavic, just like all these guys don't have any original thought. Almost every Nazi symbol ever is a bastardization of something that does not represent the ideology at all, that used to exist back in the day. But unfortunately, once it's bastardized, you can't really take it back, and you will look very, very weird if you're like, man, we need to take back the swastika. Or the Kolovrat. This is the Kolovrat. I mean, bro, it's too late for that. Like, why are you so hyper obsessed with it?
Formed as the Azov Battalion in
Except Pepe the Frog. Yeah, we kind of took back Pepe the Frog.
May 2014, started as a self-funded volunteer militia under Andrei Bieletsky to fight Russian-backed forces in the Donbas War.
With Azov, I already talked about earlier. The idea is that Ukraine is literally the border separating true whites from the Asiatic and massively Jewish-influenced Russians. Russians are subhuman. We are very different than them. Herder, we was Vikings and shit. Trust me, I'm Nordic, bro. Please, bro, I'm Nordic. Please trust me, I'm Nordic.
November 2014, it was formally integrated into Ukraine's
Russisch co-founder was recently sentenced to life in prison in Finland. Very good.
National Guard. Azov has been at the center of controversy due to its early ties to far-right groups and neo-Nazi ideology, with its founder Bielitsky previously making racist statements. The unit has used symbols linked to Nazism, such as the Wolfsangel and the Black Sun, both popular neo-Nazi emblems. Reports have shown Azov fighters wearing Nazi symbols on their uniforms and as tattoos, including Nazi swastikas or SS runes. There have also been alleged ties between Azov and American white supremacist groups. While some argue that Azov has since distanced Azov.
This is all correct, but I'm not. You picked the wrong picture, bro. I'm not sure this. This is a Russian Empire flag with SS on top of it. And this is a swastika with literally Rus, like Russian, written on top of it. Wrong JPEG, I believe. Because I think this is a Russian Nazi.
And
not like it matters, all Nazis are the fucking same,
American white supremacist groups. While some argue that Azov has since distanced itself from its extremist roots, others...
That's fucking hilarious. This is very funny.
believe elements of the far-right ideology persist within its larger political movement.
Of course. Okay, phenomenal stuff. Good video. That was entertaining as shit. That was great. Now, I'm going to send you over to my boss boy, Rob, that I love very much and that I respect very much. But before I do so, I will tell you, see me at the same place at the same time. Follow me on all my socials. And a big, absolute fucking thank you to my beautiful, beautiful subscribers. Without you, none of this would be possible. unironically. Thank you very much. None of this would be possible without you guys. Thank you to everybody that followed. In case you're here for the first time and you did not click that beautiful button, you lose nothing. Click it. It's for the betterment of all. Thank you to my mods, without whom none of this would be possible. Join my unhinged Discord channel that has over 4,500 members. And I will see you tomorrow, pretty much. Yeah. No, I might go out. I don't know. I'll see. Fuck Nazis, and go say hi to Rob, who is the opposite of a Nazi. He is a normal person. His head has indeed not been lobotomized. You know what to spam. My mods have shown you. Why the fuck is a Chinese flag in the Yugopnik raid? Like, the fuck? I guess. I mean, okay. Go say hi. Mucho love. Bye-bye.